Hey, and welcome to Happy Jacks. This is
Jason's so
very
in love with his
professional.
voice.
What is happening? Oh,
What is
right.
happening?
I'm getting one
What
of my
is
external
happening?
speakers was like,
Oh, hey, I'll help out.
one of
What
my
is
external
happening?
speakers was
But
like,
no
oh,
thanks.
hey, I'll help out. One of
What
my
is
external
happening?
speakers was
But
like,
no
oh,
thanks.
hey, I'll help
Thanks.
out. One of my
What is
external
happening?
Computer heard you
speakers was
But
like,
no
talking
oh,
smack
hey,
thanks.
I'll
about
help
lining
out.
everything up.
One of my
What is
external
happening?
Computer heard.
Yeah, I was like, here, how you like this?
Okay, how about now? No more echo?
No.
Okay, nailed it in one. All right. All right, everyone. Anyway, thanks for joining us. This is Happy Jacks. We're here to play some D&D, but we're putting our own little twist on it. I'll talk about that in a minute. My name's Jason. You can find all my nonsense at It's Probably Okay, just the letters OK, on Twitter. And you can find the game I made and all the other nonsense that I get up to. And we have some players today. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Claire. You can find me at CBDubs. That's SEEBEDUBS. And I'm going to be playing we just had a level 4 rogue changeling today, and their name is Nyx.
My name is Eli. You can find me on Twitter if you want. I'll let you do the legwork to find my handle. But I'm playing an elf ranger, level 4, or elf paladin named Alibas.
Hi, I am Pooja. I am playing a changeling sorcerer, but it'll be a kind of like a twist on your regular sorcerer, as I'm trying out a new subclass called Blade Soul.
Yes.
And it's good to see that there's going to be more than one changeling in the party. That's exciting. And my name is Zay.
Cool.
Blade Soul sounds pretty impressive. I'm a little bit afraid of you now.
Oh, well, it'll be less impressive when you know that it's a subclass of my own design.
Oh, yeah, broken.
I was just going to let you bask in the praise for a minute.
No, it's from Rob. It's not like I couldn't enjoy it.
My name's Rob. What am I playing? I am playing a Luxodon, which is a giant elephant person, and I'm stupid excited about it. And I'm a warlock.
Excellent.
Oh, my character is also a warlock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Eli, did you say what character class you were playing?
Paladin. I said ranger.
Okay. So we've got a
But it's
rogue,
not.
paladin, a sorcerer, and a warlock. So, paladin, you are going to be tank and healer and control. So,
So it's just like a regular WoW party.
yes, yeah, precisely. That's all right. We're not at Happy Jacks. We're not super into the hardcore wargaming aspect of this, but it's D&D, and so you got to live with it to some degree. So one of the things we're doing differently in this game is that we are going to swap out the 20-sided die for the two 10-sided dice. And so immediately that doesn't add up. You say, how do you roll a nat 1, Jason? Well, let me tell you. In the bell curve, well, it's really like a V, an inverted V, like a...
Like a mountain?
Yeah.
Is it a mountain peak?
Yes, it's like that. But the
We have to climb it.
He's piqued my interest.
yes, the peak is formed by 10 and 11 being the most common results. Technically 10 and a half, which just doesn't exist. So there is a middle ground of probability, and so what you're looking for is rolling those two 10-sided dice and adding them up, as opposed to the percentile 10-sided dice, which some people do. So that's what 2d10 is in this case. And what that means is your probability of getting a nat 1 on a 20-sided die is a 5% probability. And if you add up the probability of getting a 2, 3, or 4 on the 2 dice, it's about 5%. It's like 5.5, whatever. Then also nat 20, our criticals will be 18, 19, 20. And since 5th edition ripped out all the garbage stuff that would expand your crit range, which was just fucking wild, that is no longer a problem for us. And if you find something in expanded rules that expand your crit range, no, you may not use that. So the basics, that's how the mechanics work, and that's how we can think about that, is those numbers add up that way. Rob?
So 2, 3, and 4 is fail. 18, 19, 20 is crit success.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you may want to put it on a post-it and put it on your screen there.
I was told there'd be no math.
Yeah, that's incorrect.
It's the clicky-clacky math rocks. It's literally what we're doing.
Precisely.
What part of let's play a D&D game made
Yeah, but then he heard it was
Jason,
being run by
who knows?
me.
Yeah, Jason's near D&D. It's never quite D&D.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can't
D&D
play
adjacent.
D&D straight.
Jason.
Yeah, there's very few things I do straight. The crit fail is 2, 3, 4. Crit success 18, 19, 20, and we will treat it just like the rules state for a natural 20 or a natural 1. Couple things to note that a few people do differently, which is just at other tables people handle this in different ways. For a crit success, and we can let's actually discuss this. It's episode 0. It's time to decide what we want to do. The rulebook has a couple variations on how to handle critical success in combat. So normally what happens is if you would roll, let's say you're attacking with a sledgehammer and you're going to roll 2d6 because you got a successful hit. If you got a critical success, you would roll 4d6. You double the weapon dice. And that's all well and good. But in my experience, I have had many times where I got a crit success and rolled lower than the average damage you would normally get. An alternative that I have enjoyed playing in the past, that we don't have to, I'm just putting it out there. An alternative is saying when you get a crit success, you will just max your damage dice. And there's not double dice. You don't get double the dice. You're just going to do a max
automatically
damage roll.
do max damage.
Right. And then roll 1 of your weapon dice. So you would take all of your normal damage. Let's say you were using a rapier
Max
for
damage,
a D8.
yeah.
You would do 8 plus your dex modifier plus another D8.
If you have
that is a question. So never mind. It's fine. Go on.
So, but if your weapon has like 2d6 plus 4, whatever, it would be those, 12 plus 4 plus 1 more d6.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Or we can do the double dice, which is fun to just roll a bunch of clicky-clacky math rocks. I'm good either way.
Do enemies get the same? Enemies fall under the same thing,
They
right?
will use whatever we decide. Yeah. I'll do it the same for everybody. The one caveat to that is with the 2d10 rule, there's a lot of discussion about this online. I did not invent this idea. But the discussion centered around possibly having enemies roll the d20 instead of 2d10 so that it's a little bit swingier. Also, a lot of times you all end up with really high defenses, and rolling 2d10 for the enemy, they usually have lower bonuses because there's more of them, just the way the game is balanced. And so that's a possibility. We may have to, if we get into this and we discover the enemies are just stompable and nothing, then we may have the enemy switch back to rolling d20. But I don't know if that's going to happen.
There's only one of us that's going to have really high AC in this.
Yeah. So it might not be a thing. I'm going to start with 2d10 for everyone. Yeah.
All right.
And there's lots of ways to get around high AC. So.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Does this do away with rolling with advantage and disadvantage, or do we just roll 4 d10s for rolling? Okay.
So what you'll do, though, is you'll need to have 2 pairs of d10s, right? So maybe you want a couple red dice and a couple blue dice, because it's not roll 4, take the best 2. That math just skyrockets.
That would be cool.
Yeah. So it's pair of dice, take the better of those predetermined pairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then that informs which dice I'm going to use. Okay.
Yeah, you will want color-coded dice for that. For sure.
I'm one of those weirdos that has the precision dice. So, but my World of Darkness set is see-through, and my D&D set is opaque. So
Very
they're
good.
the same color because because I have a brand and that's purple.
I hear you.
My dice are still stuck in quarantine at Stu's house.
Oh no!
That's too bad. I know all of it. We have a whole character cabinet there, listeners. So at one point, Kimmy went and took pictures of a bunch of the characters in current campaigns so that we could all keep playing with those characters. It was very sad that they're locked away. But safety is more important than games, so there you go.
Yep.
The other thing you could do is if you have advantage or disadvantage, roll, tell us the total, and roll again. If you only have 2d10, it's whatever. We'll make do. Let's see. What else do we need to know? We're going to start at level 4. I think a couple of you mentioned being level 4. That's where non-humans can get their first feat, and I think all of you are non-human, I believe.
True.
Eli, you're an elf, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
That's still not human, Jason. 2
changelings and a loxodon. Okay. This would be great. So also, and everyone should have their D&D Beyond page open.
Yes.
I did, and then for some reason my internet on my desktop just died. So give me 1 second, and I have to pull it up.
Yeah, I just messed up all the cameras too.
Jason, you're doing something wonky.
Yeah, you did something wonky.
Well, besides hanging out with you.
Oh.
Fern.
Oh, yeah, we're not centered. Oh, there we go. We're back in our windows. Okay.
Yep. Yep, that was on me. So let's so we'll have D&D Beyond open in the background. When we get our characters all set up, we're going to use this overlay that I've seen and some other streamers use, and it is very, very cool because it's like live updates, your hit points and everything like that. You can track everything in there. Again, we're not going to be that numbers heavy, but it is still kind of cool that this thing does it tracks all of that stuff for you, and it means we can dig into that a little bit more. I'll actually be kind of tracking how much currency you have and your not literal encumbrance, probably, unless it becomes an issue. That's all possibility.
So in our D&D Beyond character setup, should we have clicked encumbrance on and coins count as encumbrance?
Coins don't count as encumbrance. It's just in a lot of D&D campaigns, people don't even really think about the currency that much. And so we actually will be doing that.
Okay.
So we're going to keep a handle on our resources is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not interested in counting every arrow and crossbow bolt, but the rest of it is interesting. Worth.
What about? You said yes encumbrance or no encumbrance?
Yes encumbrance.
Yes encumbrance. Okay.
Wait a minute. I have 5 players in the campaign. What has happened?
I think I added one on accident.
Aha! This level 1 I am removing from the campaign. Esther. Goodbye forever.
Goodbye, Esther. We'll miss you. We never knew you.
That's fine. I heard she was a jerk. Okay. So we have Alebus. How do you say that?
Alibas.
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 Okay. Alibas and Nyx and Ventus. Yeah. Okay. And Zay.
Yep.
Okay. And Alibas, what pronouns do you use?
He, him.
Okay. And Nyx?
They there.
Mm-hmm. And Ventus?
He, him.
He. And Zay.
They them.
They. Okay. I don't know why I put that over there. I'm right-handed and can't do anything with my left hand. So,
Same, but left-handed.
yeah. My left hand is a glorified paperweight. It's gonna hold this down. Now, right. Okay. So, first few things we want to look at. I know a bunch of you have jumped into this already. You'll want to use the fixed hit point type. So we're just going to go. We're not going to roll that stuff. It'll give you the max hit points to start, and then it's going to give you half plus one of your hit point die each level, plus your con each level. In our group, who do we have? Do we have anyone who is really brand new to D&D? Like, should I get into some of the basics a little bit?
I played D&D, but super long time ago, but I get the basics.
Okay.
I've only played D&D with you, so I know it's not real D&D.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, snap.
I mean, it's kind of the truth though. But I've played D&D and Pathfinder on and off for 20 years.
Uh-huh. And Claire's played a bunch.
Yeah, I played for a while.
Yeah.
Are we doing milestone or XP advancement?
Milestone.
Okay, great.
Then, if you would like, this is an optional thing for in the home tab of your character builder. Magic the Gathering content is acceptable mechanically, but there won't be any Magic the Gathering like backstory content, right? Does that make sense? So whatever you add, it will be an element of the world of Eberron. So like the Loxodon race is from the Magic the Gathering. And they are. I was going to suggest the plains where there are also a lot of halflings who ride dinosaurs. I think it's the Arendelle elves. What is that plains called? Eberron map. And that doesn't mean you have to be there from there, Rob, but I think that's probably where most of the Loxodon folks are from originally.
Sure.
The Valinor Plains. I was right the first time.
Okay.
The Talenta Plains. Valinor is the actual jungle, so that region is probably a good place to start. I'm going to drop a link to that in our chat. I have the giant world anvil really detailed map here that I'll drop into our chat that I keep throwing up in front of our cameras.
It's Valinor, not Valinor, right?
I believe so, yeah. Yeah,
Sorry.
what's Valinor? What am I confusing that with?
It's a land it's from J.R.R. Tolkien's world.
Right,
It's,
yes. Okay, I knew that sounded familiar for a reason.
Yeah, I was like, Valinor, that's different.
Yeah. So if you open up Slack, I dropped a link to the map of Corvair, which is the main continent here. It's pretty high detail. In the bottom left corner, there's an inlet called the Dagger River and the Hilt, which looks like a knife going up into the mainland. And at the very bottom where it says the Hilt, it says Sharn, which is the city that you all are from. Now, I don't know, you can decide whether you're from there originally, but, and I'll let you sort of Google your own pictures of Sharn. There are just endless images of it. But things to know about Sharn is that it is highly metropolitan. There are a couple of universities. There are general schools. It's sort of Victorian era technology, but that technology is powered by magic. So like a steam engine is run by an alchemical hot rock that you drop into the boiler, and it makes the water get hot, and the steam turns a crank like a steam engine does. It just, instead of a fire, you throw this ever hot rock into it, and it does the job. There are lots of little things that so Keith Baker wrote this setting, Eberron, and what he wanted to explore is what would happen if we treated magic like a science. And so that's kind of what he accomplished here, was if magic is repeatable, measurable, testable, well, that's basically science. And so what would the world look like that embraced that concept? And that's kind of what we get with Eberron. In Eberron, lots of people learn some basic spells. They learn the spell of mending or cleaning, like a shopkeeper probably knows a mending spell if it's like a clothing shop, right? And people could come in and they'll pay them to mend their clothes. It just doesn't take very long. But, they went to business school, and part of it included, hey, learn a spell that you should know in your business. And, that's a thing that a lot of people do. Just most people don't go to 7 years of wizard school the way that a proper wizard or someone else would. So yes, there are lightning rail trains that are like high-speed trains that are run by elementals. There are airships that are powered by elementals. There are some firearms in this universe, but I'd rather steer away from that for the most part, unless I guess I should check. Was anybody hoping to do a firearms-oriented build?
Nope.
No. Okay, so let's not worry about that then. We'll just call it sort of blunderbuss era firearm technology. And also, why go through the hassle of building a gun when you could just build a wand? And, people carry wands and holsters. Some things about Sharn. Sharn is very vertical. It's called the City of Towers, and it is it is built in a place in the sort of real world of Eberron. It's built in a place that the veil between our world and the plane of air is very thin. And so there's a lot of access to air magic and air elementals. And so we actually get flying cars and skiffs. We get buildings that are hovering up and down and don't have stairs up to them. You just take a little hover car or a flying carpet or a ring of flying or whatever. These are just pretty common items that are around. In fact, when most visitors come into town, depending on how you get in, coming across the bridge, there are vendors selling tokens of Featherfall. Like, hey, get your token of Featherfall. You are probably going to fall off something at some point in your visit. And, the one-use ones aren't that expensive. So it's a thing that people, if you're going to Sharn, oh yeah, get your Featherfall thing.
I'm sorry, where on the map is it? I'm having difficulty finding it.
In the bottom left, the southwest corner of the, if you look left of Zilargo at the bottom, to the King's Forest, and then bottom left from there is Sharn.
Great. Okay. I feel like I did a campaign here before. Is this the same? Is this the same Eberron that was in 3.5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he developed it, I think, for 3rd edition, and then
that sounds about right.
Grew into 3.5 and so on. He actually won a contest to.
Cool.
He submitted this with a bunch of people and was the big winner to create this whole world that's been around for 20 years now. It's very exciting. So the city is very vertical. It's there is a I think it's run by a council of city managers or something. I have to double check into that. We're not going to be immediately next to that. The other big part of Eberron lore is the dragon marked houses, which will be more immediately important to you. Dragon marked houses represent people who have they are actually born with the ability to do some small piece of magic that is specific to their family line. So for instance, House Orien are imbued with a couple spells related to transport, like getting from here to there. I think they have like a levitation spell for like moving things around. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. House Thrashk is and House Orien are mostly humans and gnomes, I think, and sort of variations on that. But it's passed down in a familial way, so there is a strong sort of component, like a familial component that goes with that sort of thing. So, for instance, House Thrashk, which is the house of finding, is primarily humans, orcs, half orcs, because it's passed on through the family. So it's also, well, anyway, that's just a bit of background. If anyone would like to be officially affiliated with one of those houses, we'll need to talk about that because most of that is chosen either, like there are actually race choices you could make. For instance, there's a variation of the orc race in D&D Beyond that is the dragon marked House of Thrashk half orc that has some different bonuses from the other half orc that's listed in there. And until we can get these types of bonuses completely separated from one's species, which is wild, and hopefully that will improve someday, but that's what we have to work with for right now.
There's also feats, right? You could take individual feats to be marked.
Yes.
Right?
Some of those feats require that you already have a mark, though. So that's important to note which one of those have that requirement. The other thing is you can get that mark through a background, or at least just be affiliated with a house. You might be born into the family, but not have a mark yourself, which ends up being sort of a point of contention sometimes. Also, if your mark is not it shows up kind of like a tattoo. It looks like a tattoo, at least in most cases, and it has a very specific shape for each house. And if yours is like smaller on your body or lighter in shade, it's sort of less powerful or less distinctive, and so people who have a tattoo that's all across their whole, like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's shoulder,
Sneeches with stars upon thars.
Right, exactly. They're very sort of highly regarded and immediately become regarded in the house. And so that's just a big part of the background of the world. It's something we can't step into Eberron without acknowledging. There's a bunch of stuff we don't have to go into, but then a little bit of local lore that is particularly unique to our story is you all living in Sharn have heard about, so it's springtime in Sharn, and stories have been trickling in from last year. There was a story about an island southwest across the sea called Welldown. And the rumors, and a lot of people are hearing that this is confirmed at this point, is that there is a city on Welldown known as Karazosh, also called the Emerald City, because they are literally rich with gems. And the people who named it the Emerald City were not creative. The people of Karazosh did not name their city that. But that city and the coastal town across the desert from them that sort of serves as their port called Brine, the rumor is that a bunch of folks there have become undead, but are not mindless undead. They are undead folks and are allegedly just sort of living their lives. And news was sparse at first, and then the stories became more and more, and now people claim to have met undead folks from Welldown. And there are rumors going around that they're trying to make a name for themselves in shipping and transport, and a lot of undead folks don't have to sleep, and when they fall overboard, they can just wait to be picked up. And like, excuse me, I'm very deep underwater. Could someone please come get me? So as a group, they're wanting to reach out into the world and make their mark. I guess it depends on whose version of that story. Some people say they're going to invade and convert everyone into being undead. There's a lot of talk either way about that. So it'll be up to you if how you want your character to interact with that. But there are aspects of Eberron where being undead does not automatically make your character evil. And in fact, I basically don't use the alignment system. So it feels very clunky to me. And so alignment is very much an abstract property that we will sort of touch on. But even within the world, within the lore of Eberron, there are a bunch of elves, for instance, who have developed the ability to become liches, good liches, which means they extend their already thousands of years life to more thousands of years as an undead wizard, so that they can keep watch over their family lines. And they're a council of elder liches who look out. Or it's an island. I thought it was the Arenal elves, but that's already on the map as something else. It's gonna pop into my head in a minute. I think it is Arenal. I was confusing that with Valinar. I think it's the Arenal elves who have developed that technique. And so there's just a lot of rumors around that, because there's also there's no cadre of Arenal elves in Sharn teaching everybody how to become a lich, if that's what you want to do with your life. So that's a very sort of secretive thing that they've kept as a secret. There's a sentence for you.
It's secretively kept as a secret.
Right. We have some things to figure out here. Who among you was born in Sharn?
I was not.
Okay.
I'm not sure where the changelings typically come from.
Oh, they don't have much of a congregated presence because most changelings hide the fact that they are changelings.
I see.
Because there's a huge amount of prejudice, or, well, at least distrust, which I guess is prejudice because you're distrusting somebody you don't know for being something. So, yeah, a lot of changelings experience the world as, like, they pick a sort of default face and wear that around most of the time.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Well, then I lied. I lied. I think I am from Sharn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm from Sharn.
Cool. Rob, what about our Loxodon Bentus?
No, I am not from Sharn. Actually, I took the. Let me look it up just so I can get it correctly. But I took the background that was like Far Traveler. So basically, very different accent, very like a lot of since basically this is one of like the weirder races or the races that people don't see a lot.
Yeah, it's certainly more rare. Yeah.
Yeah, rare, not weird. That's me. Rare is the race.
Yeah.
So so basically just having that understanding that yes, I am from a farther point away from Sharn, that it takes a long time to get to. There's not a lot of trade going that way. We're not a very industrious area. So I just kind of wandered in and was like pretty impressed by what was going on and wanted to check it out.
Okay, cool. So you're just you've got the wanderlust, and that keeps you moving about.
A thirst for knowledge.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Sharn definitely has a lot of that. There's some of the world's best universities are in Sharn, and that's definitely a good place to find information.
Did anybody else get as far as ability scores in their making of characters? Or are we going to go through that?
Yeah. So what I would like everyone to do is use the standard array.
Okay.
And you can drop those in however you like. I'm not much of one to I was joking earlier about the construction of the party having 3 strikers and 1 tank, but that's not something I actually worry about in practice. So I would say pick the stats that kind of fit the character idea you have in mind, but we can also talk about that stuff. I also am medium opposed to table secrets. So if you want to have something that's a secret about your character, that's totally fine. We don't have to bring it up. My first choice would be that it's a character secret, but not a player secret. So that for the most part, as players, we all know what's going on with each other, even though we're playing pretend and accepting that we don't know everything about the other characters. But, ultimately, if there's something that is so drastic that you want to keep it to yourself for now, we can definitely talk that out. However, I would like to know because I'm the GM and I need to know things.
Well, I would think that my character wouldn't necessarily reveal that she is a changeling until she trusts people, not to think she's shifty.
But the premise of our game is that the 4 of you have been working together for some time and building those relationships. Okay. So we're going to open the game with some familiarity. Not necessarily best friends. It doesn't have to be like that. But you definitely, the 4 of you have probably done the last couple of levels of your adventuring together, which is a pretty significant bit of time. So you'll have to figure out, why have you been adventuring? Why be into this group in particular? And then we're going to go through some questions eventually using our friend Kimmy's system, Decima. Which has
what's Decima?
What's Decima? Tell us about it.
I can't help myself.
Pretty fantastic game, typically played with tarot cards, which we don't have access to over the internet. There actually is a digital version of it. I just didn't have time to get that set up and do remotely. But what I've done instead is taken a spreadsheet and randomized the different sections and sent you all emails labeled "Do Not Open." And so we're going to secretly open those emails in order in turn. And so we will make do with that way. And similarly, in Decima, if you get a question that you don't like for any reason, they're like, oh, this is a dumb question, I don't like this, you can pass it in, and I have them all open here, and I'll just read you the next available question. So that is totally fine. And ideally, if everyone could make a note of the questions that they answer, we'll keep a log of that somewhere once hopefully we'll get to play in the studio together someday, but we'll see.
I just wanted to say, I assumed that just with the time, unless someone wants to be ignorant of the fact that I'm a changeling, I'm fine with the party knowing. I am gonna say that my family group, like, I grew up traveling around Freeland with my family unit.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So not from Sharn, but like have passed through there before, but like it's more of we were traders going around, like on a very small scale, not like merchant guild style traders, but making ends meet and keeping to ourselves.
Sure. And then what made you want to come to Sharn after all?
Honestly, when we passed through before, and I thought after what happened in my past that it would be the best way for me to find other people like me.
Oh, okay. So you want to meet other changelings or other people who seek adventure, or?
I was looking for other changelings. I was like, maybe I could find a new family. Not that it'll ever replace the one I lost. And I did go, assuming you're all right with it, I went with the haunted background.
And well, I didn't look over that. What does that say exactly? Or you don't have to read the whole thing, but the Cliff's Notes version?
Oh, give me 1 second to pull it up real quick.
Is it a literal ghost?
Jason's never played
haunted
D&D.
one. I am haunted by something so terrible that you dare not speak of it. The burden has taken its toll, isolating you from most people and making you question your sanity. You must find a way to overcome it before it destroys you.
Okay. Yes, to a degree that's possible, but what we don't want to wind up with is the person who's so brooding and solo that they don't want to do anything with other people.
No, and I could never play that person,
Yeah,
to be
I know.
honest. This is more ties into what I texted you about on my magic item.
Sure. Yeah, and that was an uncommon item?
Yes.
Okay, great. But listeners, I had messaged everyone ahead of time that they were welcome to pick out any uncommon or common magic item. I don't know if there are common magic items that don't apply a numeric bonus and or advantage disadvantage effects. So there are lots of things to choose from. You can sort it in D&D Beyond, which makes it really easy to find things. But has anyone else chosen their magic item?
I was thinking about a magic item, but I don't know because I didn't know that much about D&D Beyond. But just to give some background on Alibas is that he is of a knightly order that protects ancient druids, and so he's not from Sharn.
Ah, okay.
And they're starting to expand out to learn more about the world. So he's kind of like on a mission just to learn more about the world and report back. Like it's just to see, how the world is doing because they are so ingrained in their ancient ways. So he's going out and like there's more of him or more of his order. I took the knightly Knight of the Order background, but I'm probably going to change that because it makes it seem like you can go around and be like, hey, bros, like I'm a part of the order, which he wouldn't be because, he's far away from his land.
Sure.
And again, he's a paladin of nature, of the ancient.
Uh-huh.
So what I was thinking about for his magic item was that the colors of his, like it's very leafy, like even though it's chain, and I guess it would move on to the next armor that he had, like it looked kind of leafy, and it changes with the seasons.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, there's, we could probably do, is that something from the magic items list?
I just made it up in my head when I was thinking about the character.
That's not a problem, but I'm going to get you the link to the magic items. And then there's probably something that does that and then some. So let me get you that at least. Because I want you to have stuff from the book that you can add to your character sheet. So if we just do all items, rarity, uncommon, filter, then this is some stuff that you can look over. I'll drop that in our chat, in our Slack, so everyone can see that too. So that's something to be aware of. But yeah, I mean, we certainly can, if you don't find anything there that does what you want it to do, we can definitely have a magic item, but there are uncommon magic items that can do more than a cosmetic effect, and I don't want to shortchange you on that. So feel free to, like, if you want to have some sort of magic armor, we can also say that it changes with the seasons. Like, that's a freebie as far as I'm concerned. So I happy to add that stuff in.
Okay. Cool. Then I'll check it out.
I found an item that I think I'd like, the crossbow hand of warning. This magic weapon warns you of danger. While the weapon is on your person, you have advantage on initiative rolls. In addition, you and any of your companions within 30 feet of you can't be surprised except when incapacitated by something other than non-magical sleep.
Right. So that one
is that too much?
It gives you advantage on something. And
that's right. You said no advantage.
That's one of the things we're going to steer clear of is if it says like +5 to strength or it gives you advantage on X, then we're going to skip those for now. You guys are going to get magic items. Don't worry.
Oh, sure.
But as far as this point,
I ain't even mad.
I want something a little bit more benign.
So the magic item I had messaged you about was the Ring of Mind Shielding. While wearing this ring, you're immune to magic that allows other creatures to read your thoughts. Determine whether you're lying, know your alignment, or know your creature type. Creatures can telepathically communicate with you only if you allow it. You can use an action to cause the ring to become invisible until you use another action to make it visible, or until you remove the ring, or if you die. If you die while wearing the ring, your soul enters it unless it already houses a soul. you can remain in the ring or depart for the afterlife. As long as your soul is in the ring, you can telepathically communicate with any creature wearing it. The wearer can't prevent this telepathic communication.
Okay.
So based on the Haunted One background, I was going to say that the being that was haunting me was the soul inside the ring that I was wearing.
Yeah,
I cannot block them from my mind. That they are, and as we go through or whatever, we can figure out more details about exactly what that is. I have some ideas, but
sure. And just
I don't want to take up a bunch of time here.
Just to sort of think through the implications, does that suggest that someone was wearing that ring, died, and you took the ring from them? Is that kind of how that would happen? Because you have to be wearing the ring to enter the ring when you die, right?
Yes.
Okay.
This implicates like in stealing this off of someone's dead body or getting it later.
Yeah.
But
lots of ways that could happen.
Which is I took it off a cold dead finger.
Well, maybe it was
for good
your best friend.
For good reason.
Yeah, there could be lots of good reasons to do that. I just wanted to make sure we had the mechanics of that in place. I love it.
Yeah, it doesn't say that like the next wearer would have to like get it from that person. It can go through. It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, you have to get it from the previous owner.
Yeah, it could be like the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
I get that reference.
I've never seen it either. I just know the title, and I've always liked the title of that movie.
I've never seen it either, but I believe, despite them all being different shapes and sizes, somehow these pants actually fit all of these women.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that they were jeggings.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Jeggings.
Yeah, it's jeggings.
Got it.
They're really expensive jeggings.
Okay, so let's check in. Are there any questions we're all in the character builder right now. Is there anything in there that you're wondering about how to proceed, what to set? I had also noted to give yourself the best mundane armor and weapon that you can get. So non-magical. You're level 4, you would have, acquired these things at some point. Pooja?
I went with rapier as my weapon, and I got a moon-touched rapier, so basically it glows in the dark.
Oh, cool. Is that all? It just glows in the dark?
Yeah, it's 1d8. Like, it's the same. Yeah. It's regular, like the same damage as another common rapier. It just, this one, in darkness, the unsheathed blade sheds moonlight.
What if you don't?
So it's bright light. Then you gotta make it be sheathed.
Okay. Then I liked it very much.
I liked that, like, it isn't always going to be good, but I knew that when I picked it.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay. Rob, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I messed up on the magic item. So I'm going through trying to find something that might work that is not bonus giving.
Ah, yeah, okay.
And then when you say the best mundane item, are you talking like masterwork? Or are you talking like what was that?
Well, under for let's see, you're a warlock.
That's the rumor,
right? So you would get, I think you're allowed light armor or medium armor.
I actually don't wear armor because my natural armor is higher than anything I can get.
Oh, I see. As a Loxodon. Okay, yeah, the implication was just like, if you get light armor, go get studded leather. If you can wear heavy armor, like our paladin, I just give yourself plate mail. It's expensive, but what else would you would immediately invest in plate armor as soon as possible. So
yeah, okay.
If you get medium armor, get yourself a breastplate. It's like one of the best armors in the game, honestly, because it's medium armor. It doesn't hinder your stealth rolls. Like, it's incredible. Lots of things to consider there, but I guess in some cases, yeah, get yourself the best armor or weapon means you're not going to get that much because you're not. But that's why I'm not making people pay for it either. So, also when you get to the equipment section, it has starting equipment or gold. choose gold because I'm just giving you the starting equipment. Like basically you're getting both. Okay. So choose gold on that and then just add things without paying for them because you're not level 1 adventurers, right? You've been doing this for a while. So yeah.
So when I chose gold, it said 3d4 times 10. Is that what we're going for? Or because there's a drop down here.
Yeah, let's see. How do we do that per level? There's a calculation for that. Hold on.
I think there's a way that we can also, just do the items themselves and then also just add gold in later, if that's easier.
Well, if you do the starting gold, and then just add in the equipment, like you can just go through the shopping menu and just add it to your sheet. That works pretty well.
Okay.
I'm not going to track rations or torches or things like that. So
Crossbow bolts.
no. So little things like that. I'm gonna assume you have. If it becomes important, like, oh, you all got dunked underwater, then I'm going to say, okay, none of your torches work. What do you have? Oh, a moon blade. Okay, great. The challenge of the adventure is not going to be you can't see in the dark. I mean, if somebody has low light or dark vision, that's going to come into play and will be helpful. But yeah. Okay, let's see. So the starting gold. Exchange rates? No, who cares? Well, Patrick Rothfuss cares. That's who.
I mean, I was wrong about the 3d4 thing. You can just input 3 to 12 times 10 GP.
Oh, okay.
So, how much starting gold do you want us to have is basically the answer.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a thing for that here under wealth.
Yeah, when you make your background, you can say like, I'm comfortable, I'm wealthy, I'm...
Yeah, but you're supposed to pay for those. So the implication is that those are costing you coin. And so, you know what? Let's just take, since it's only level 4, this isn't going to skew too high. Roll whatever it says there. I'll trust you to be honest and multiply it by 4. Y'all will have different amounts. And that'll be a goodly amount of money to start out with. And...
Wait, so if I hit randomize... It came up with 10, and then that gives me 100 GP. So do you want me to multiply that by 4?
Yeah, you can have 400 GP at 4th level.
Okay. Sorry, it's not.
I mean, that's a lot of money, but you're not like filthy stinking rich.
I
just have no idea. Inflation is.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm never quite.
Sure. So I'll give you some examples. Under heavy armor, splint mail is 200 gold and plate is 1,500, right? So having 400 is not the end of the world.
Where are we seeing the gold part? I'm totally missing this.
Should be character builder, equipment, and then currency. In the top left corner of your equipment tab, it says manage or currency by the little blue arrow. If you click on currency, and that doesn't have the roll for gold. Is it under more?
It's under when you're in items, it's under like
if you go to equipment and click more, that's over by the blue arrow on the right. Then
starting equipment.
Yeah, and then click gold instead of equipment.
And then, because we're multiplying times 4 after the randomization, if you go like up next to manage, there's a little currency thing. Click on that, and you can
then you can just
manually input how much you're supposed to have.
And we're rolling. I'm sorry. What are we rolling for this?
It'll be different for you, for each person. I mean, so if you go to the more menu, and well, actually, we don't. I can just tell you what to roll. You're Claire. You're the rogue, right?
Yes.
So you're going to roll 4d4 times 10 gold.
Okay.
Does anyone else need their dice? Paladin, you're going to roll 5d4 times 10.
I'm just rolling my d4 4 times. Yeah. 6, 5. Oh, 3.
I think I might need to retool my stats around, but I don't know if we could just do. I could do that later.
You want me to go look? Yeah, we can. I'm more than happy to jiggle numbers around as we go. Like if you do something, you're like, oh, why did I do that? I didn't understand how this works. Happy to do that, but I'll look at your abilities right now too.
Because I think the best armor I can wear is breast mail.
I'm not sure that's accurate.
Well, I could wear it. It's just I don't know if I.
Let me look at your class.
Isn't it? Aren't you heavy armor? Right?
Well, I just want to his like individual thing may have reduced that, so I'm just checking. No, you have access to all armor, all shields, and all simple and martial weapons. So you should have plate mail, which means you don't need a dexterity bonus. Because you're not really going to be doing ranged attacks, and when you're in plate mail, you don't get to use your dexterity bonus. So you probably want to swap your dexterity and your strength around.
Okay.
Because you're going to use strength for all of your attacks. And Constitution looks pretty good.
Are we doing standard array? Sorry if I missed it.
Yeah.
Cool. Good, because that's what I had set up.
I go to the Church of Standard Array. I think it's one of the best things to have happened to D&D.
Is it plate mail, Jason?
Uh-huh. Actually, Eli, if you're okay with it, do you mind if I swap these numbers around a little bit and then see what you think?
Yeah.
Okay, because I have access to everyone's numbers, so.
Jason's already trying to mess with the player. Look at that railroad.
I don't really have to try.
I was gonna say that it's actually more like, oh hey, making a character in D&D even when you're using a streamlined character creator like D&D Beyond, which I was saying in chat, I love this. Is still like a lot of choices and and can still be confusing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been playing D&D for a really long time, and I'm still like, oh, which do I want to put this, like, do I want to put my higher number in strength, or would I rather put it in wisdom, which is what I'm looking at now, and I probably am actually going to switch those two.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, like one of the things I can do here, Eli, is I can put your 8 into dexterity, and then the +2 that you get from being an elf will bring you back up to a 10. And
because I originally thought of that, but then I was looking at rapier because I was trying to not be so min-maxing.
Oh well, it's.
Are you also going to go rapier? This is going to be so fun. We're gonna have some
no, now I'm changing it.
Yeah, I think you're going to want a bigger weapon. You don't want to. I mean, it's just the paladin doesn't like. What's the right word? It doesn't honor that choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it
punishes you for attempting to be original.
I'm running a game that has a pally that uses a rapier, and he crits all the time because his dice love him, and he still only does like 1d8 + 2.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And it's like, oh, you're the paladin.
Right.
Could you please do your DOT? Thank you.
Yeah. So, you're gonna want to decide between whether you want a big two-hander, like a great sword or a maul, or if you want a long sword with a shield, and then the long sword can be one-handed or two-handed. So
yeah, I was gonna take the long sword because I wanted to I took a shield feat because of like the backstory of that his order.
Mm-hmm.
Like their thing is that they actually are the protectors of the druid.
Oh yeah.
Of the druid council. So that's the reason. Like I'm gonna aim more towards, and I took protector for paladin.
Uh-huh.
So that's kind of like his thing, rather than being berserk.
Yeah, very cool.
Which is probably also really good for your health, just seeing as you're also the healer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that paladins have it tough as is they have to be good at like 4 different stats. So that's where you get worked over a little bit. The thing you may want to consider is instead of taking a feat at 4th level, you might want the 2+1s instead. Because if you drop that into... actually, no, your wisdom balanced out because you're a wood elf. So only your strength would benefit. Yeah, never mind. You should definitely take the feat. At 4th level, folks listening, you can either take 2+1s to your stats, which can go into the same stat or 2 different ones, or you can take a feat, and the feats in 5th edition are so flippin' good. Like,
Oh, they're so nice.
I have a hard time imagining when I would take a stat bonus versus a feat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I
No,
took a
I was
stat
about to
bonus
say.
out of habit. Yeah.
Yeah, so did I. Like
You're
my
welcome to.
first thought was take a stat bonus.
I'm not saying you shouldn't, because that might feel like the right move for your character. But for me, when I look at what feats can do versus getting a +1 to my roll in best case scenario, like if I put both points into charisma, I now have a +1 to all my charisma rolls. But that benefit versus like athlete, where I can climb at full speed and get up for 5 feet of movement instead of half my speed, and +1 strength, and blah blah. Like the feats just do so much stuff, and also are really interesting character choices. That it actually is a hard decision to decide. Like, do you want bonuses to 2 different stats, or +2 to 1 stat, or do you want a feat? Like, they've really weighted the feats to be worth that choice, and so I'm a big fan of that design wise.
I took adamantium armor as the magical armor.
So as your magic item as well,
Yeah.
because that's an uncommon.
Yep.
Cool. Let me double check the adamantine. I know it's uncommon, I just want to look at it because it's pretty.
So pretty.
Adamantine plate.
So, Jason.
Yeah.
My character, having grown up in this city of towers, is it reasonable that someone might have given them at some point a ring of feather falling?
Yeah, you want to take that as your magic item?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
And I will also say for everyone, and this can be your choice, maybe you don't want the ring, I'm going to give everyone a token of feather falling, which is a single-use magic item that gets burnt up. Like, it doesn't regenerate. It's just a thing that people who live in Sharn keep one of these in their pocket. Like, it's just,
Well, and I was just thinking, like, they've lived there their whole lives. They probably, like,
it's
they
like
probably
your
were...
bus pass.
Yeah, exactly. So...
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely reasonable that you would have a ring of Featherfall. But if you don't want to take that and you just want the token of Featherfall, that's okay too. Maybe you're good at not falling off of things, and you just keep a token just in case.
I mean, I do have a pretty good dex, but also.
So, the adamantine armor for folks listening on just means I cannot crit against the paladin, which is fine. And I was just double checking because some items change the rarity if you get it at like this level versus this level, but plate is also just uncommon. So, it would be, Eli, the one thing I want you to think about is where you found it, because you certainly could not afford it, right? This thing is worth thousands of gold.
Okay.
And if you want it, we can say the armor changes color with the seasons and all that, or maybe that's an aspect of you. Like any armor you put on changes with the seasons. That's fine.
Okay.
However you want to do that is totally cool. Any other character builder questions? I'm snooping through everyone's stuff right now.
I'm scoping out the feats now because I was like, oh, just it's been so long since I played 5e, and then even then I only did half a campaign, I think, with you.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we didn't get too far in that.
So I got when I built my character, it was very much in my old school days of of course I'm going to choose my ability scores because feats are a terrible thing for a spellcaster.
No, there's some good ones in there. You might like Spell Sniper. You might like Warcaster. The Warlock is probably going to be more interested in Warcaster.
I'm going to be in the back, dude. Warcaster is for people that are up front.
Okay,
I was about to say I am going to.
He's going to be in the back with the healer. Oh.
Oh yeah, the Blade Soul is going to be up in the middle of everything.
Yeah, which is actually stuff I wanted to talk to you about because generally it's okay, so I'm using my weapon as a focus and it is a one-hander.
Mm-hmm.
So I could use my other hand to do kind of other components of my magic.
Mm-hmm.
But back in the day, way back in the day, trying to cast a spell right next to somebody would provoke an attack of opportunity.
Yeah, well what it is now is if you do a ranged attack while someone is in melee with you, you take disadvantage on the attack. However, Blade Soul Sorcerer cannot cast ranged spells.
Because all of my ranges are 5 feet or less.
Yeah, we should probably mention a little bit about that. Do you want me to talk about it or do you want to get into that?
Either way.
I'll give the Cliff Notes version for folks. The Blade Soul Sorcerer that I'm working on is meant to be a melee sorcerer. So they're relatively squishy because they're a sorcerer. However, they get a few things mage armor doesn't count against your spell slots. So you can just cast mage armor as much as you want, and you get some temporary hit points. It mirrors a lot of the other sorcerer builds, but it gives you some advantages up close. And the trade-off is that all of your spell ranges, if they're greater than 5 feet, are reduced to 5 feet. So you can take Fireball if you want, but you're going to cast it right here. So
I have looked when I have to say when I was going through to pick my spells, there was a lot of me going, know that you have a 5 foot range. Mm-hmm. But that brought up another question because so that's the range of me casting it, but does that mean that the effects only go that far, or do the effects go out like normal, but the range?
Oh, no. So if you cast Fireball, for instance, it has a 8 square or whatever the radius is. I think it's 4 radius, so it goes out 9 across, 9 by 9 square. I think. If that's the case, it's just it also says you can throw it 100 feet away or something.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That was kind of my question. Was
the area of effect is not changed. So cool. It's just how far away you can cast it. Is the theme is that you're trapping all of the magic inside of your body and channeling it into combat prowess. And
yes, I love this so much.
And so you're trying not to you can't send the magic far away. But if you set off Fireball at your feet, it will affect the normal area of effect.
Awesome.
If you cast Sleep, it will do the normal area of effect. But you will be in the area of effect until you take careful casting meta magic or something like that. So,
I would say that Rob would be much more interested in spell sniper based on that than I would. But
yeah, you're not gonna that you will get almost no use out of spell sniper. Well, yeah, zero use.
But add that ring of fire protection so that you can drop the fireball right at your feet.
What
I have
did you take? Oh yeah.
I took quickened and subtle.
Those are good. The you may not want subtle. I mean, you can take subtle if you want, but since you can use your weapon as a focus, having a magic focus means you don't have to complete the somatic and verbal components of a spell.
Fantastic. I was also going
Yeah.
to message you about that later since
So-
this shouldn't be all about me.
Well, I mean, but that's fine. That's what we're doing right now. And so you would want subtle, like if somebody takes your weapons away and you want to cast subtly, you wouldn't be able to without this meta magic, right? If somebody takes your weapon away, you have to do all the like verbal and somatic components of your spells. But that's up to you. So Rob, obviously you didn't take the Hexblade warlock. What kind of warlock are you making?
It's more of a defensive warlock.
Oh, the great old one.
Yeah, so kind of moving people around is sort of my goal,
Yeah.
at least from an idea standpoint. Let's see if it rubber meets the road when we actually start
Sure.
rolling your mythical broken system. But there were like a couple questions that I had, and that I think like I picked my focus to be wand. I can't find where I picked my focus anymore. But I felt like this character was more of like, he had like a quarterstaff, just like walking stick. He's very like monkish in the sense of like, kind of always walking around, always. And damn it, Eli, I wish I knew you were taking protective druids, because that was my alternate. I was thinking about making a druid. But
Oh yeah.
anyway, yeah. But yeah, so very, very monkish in that sense. So like I never purchased, or I never got a wand, but was thinking more like that the focus is really just on the staff, the staff that I carry around. That's where everything kind of like all the energy that I focus goes through that.
Yeah, I mean, we can say your staff is a sort of +0 magic focus. That's fine.
Okay, cool.
I took Twinned instead.
Oh yeah, Twinned is very good. And you'll probably want to put Careful on your short list eventually as well.
Yeah.
Or not.
But for now, well, honestly, for now, I haven't. I chose my spells kind of carefully. And in the future, like knowing that there's room for future growth.
Yeah. We'll probably level up at least a couple times. It's tricky in our time frame. We've got 8 episodes after this, so we'll just we'll do what we can. We'll try and hit some milestones and have fun while we go, and we'll see where we end up.
Which I guess, speaking of, Rob, do you want to talk about what spells? I haven't looked up Warlock in a long time, so I didn't actually look at kind of what spells they can take.
That's a good call for like spell overlap.
Yeah, sure. So obviously Eldritch Blast, which is going to be my bread und butter.
Classic.
Chill Touch and Infestation are the other 2 cantrips that I took.
Nice.
I also did Armor of Agathes, which does cold if someone tries to hit me. So assuming they break through you and Eli, I still have some protection of my own. The Arms of Hadar, which is all the tentacle goodness that comes up and screws up people.
Oh, I love the tentacles.
I know, it's so good.
Who doesn't?
Cause Fear. I do have a familiar, Hold Person, and Mind Spike were.
Oh yeah,
the
Mind
rest of
Spike
them.
is one of.
Oh,
is a
nice.
Really
I
good
looked
second
at-
level spell.
I looked at Mind Spike as well. I was like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ended up taking, so I took Booming Blade, which, like, you cast it. It's a cantrip, and you cast it, and if they move, they take damage and, and whatnot. Yeah. Firebolt, which I feel like is kind of misnamed. It's like you throw a spark of flame at something.
Yeah.
If it's not like on a person, it could catch fire. But
Yeah.
otherwise, it's a little bit of fire damage. Prestidigitation, because how could you not? Sword Burst and True Strike. And my first level spells are Absorb Elements, which if there was a spell more made for this subclass. I don't know what it is.
It was
It's
certainly on my mind.
It's like a reaction. So if somebody casts something at you, like if you're taking damage of an elemental nature, you can do this as a reaction. You absorb the elements, and then it goes into your next melee strike.
Sure.
Detect magic, because what kind of magic user would I be if I didn't have detect magic?
And to be clear, what you cast it on yourself, and you can see at the normal range, right? It's not you can only see magic items that are 5 feet away from you.
It would be like being super nearsighted,
right?
Which is its own amusement.
Is it magic? I think it's magic.
And Expeditious Retreat, which is a spell that allows me to use dash every round that I maintain my concentration, basically.
Yeah.
For 10 minutes.
Yeah. One thing
as a bonus action
I would note is you do have a number of concentration spells here, which can get a little bit tricky in melee combat, which I'm sure you know.
Yes.
But that's just something to think about. So if it winds up...
my only concentration spells that I would be using, because so my second level spells are Dragon's Breath and Enhance Ability. Yeah. And Dragon's Breath I would use in combat. That makes sense to me. However, Enhance Ability I thought I would be using more. I wanted to take a mix of combat and non-combat skills. Yeah. And Enhance Ability to me was more of a outside of combat.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Situation. And it could be the same with Expeditious Retreat, actually. Like I wanted stuff that I could use in both ways. So I thought, in terms of like me using my spell casting, like my cantrips are actually going to be a lot more useful to me right now in combat but like I wanted a mix inside my spells to.
Is someone taking Mage Hand as a cantrip?
I don't think anyone's taken Mage Hand.
It can be very, very helpful, especially.
I thought about it.
Yeah. My campaign had to cross a river, and so my sorcerer just took the rope across the river and tied it to a tree.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
It was great, but I didn't want to take Prestidigitation and Mage Hand.
Yeah. Eli, did you take some spells? I know you don't have Mage Hand, but
I sure do got one spell.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
I get no spells.
Strike. Yeah. So if I smack somebody with the longsword, then they have to make a strength saving test or a saving throw or be restrained by magical binds.
Right on. Oh, and you get Speak with Animals for free, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, nice. I like it.
And then also, because I'm playing Paladin of the Ancients, my turn is not for undead, it's for Fae and Fiends.
Okay, that's cool. I really like the Oath of the Ancients, the Nature Paladin. I think there's a lot of cool content in there.
Yeah. And then I also have another divinity for Nature's Wrath, which is another spectral vine spring up and reach for a creature within 10 feet of you that you can see.
Cool. So. Very cool. And Nyx, how are you doing on your stats and whatnot?
I think I'm done. I always forget something though, so feel free to check my work.
Oh yeah, I mean it's also fine to come back to it and go like, oh, I can't believe I forgot X. And then, we'll try to update it. Ideally, not in the middle of a combat, but
right,
shit happens. So
realizing I haven't played a rogue in 5e because I was like, okay, and where are my cantrips?
Oh,
but
yeah.
I don't get... Oh, okay.
Although the Arcane Trickster gets some spells if you go down that road, but...
I did Mastermind instead.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of picturing them as a very, like... one of the reasons I wanted the Ring of Featherfall is I picture them as, like, being like, well... if you want me to pay you, I guess that's just a problem you're going to have to face. And like they step backwards off a ledge, and like that's how they escape the conversation. And then they shift their face, and they can never find him again.
I love it.
So
I love it. Okay.
I think of them as kind of a jerk.
Excellent. Okay. So before we move on to our Decima questions, are there any character builder things that we should address? Knowing we can always come back to this, but are there any character builder things we should address before we move on to the next thing?
The only thing I just wanted to make sure that was cool was taking a rope of climbing.
Yeah, I think so. Does it give you advantage on climbing?
I don't think so. I think it just animates stuff up, and it can carry like 3,000 pounds.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Let me confirm.
I've got it here.
100%. Oh, you found it?
Yeah. It can adjust its length and make a knotted rope. Oh, and a knotted rope gives you advantage to climbing. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, cool.
Sure. I don't have a problem with that.
Because I don't have toes, so it makes it more difficult for me to climb.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm trying to imagine climbing without my toes right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tricky. How big
tricky.
are you? How big is your Loxodon?
That's a good question. Let me see if I
Personal
can.
question.
I mean, medium
out.
creatures have to be under like 7 feet or something.
Yeah, so I think that
Or 8 feet. I don't remember.
It actually doesn't say.
I
Height and weight. All I know is that I'm considered one size category larger when it comes to carrying and dragging things.
Ah, okay.
But I think I max out where medium is.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you're probably over 7 feet tall and thick.
Yeah, you can tell this is role playing.
Yes. It's funny, gang, because Rob's real short in real life.
Not real short, just mildly below average.
Extremely, extremely short.
Super short.
Small hands.
Do you smell like cabbage? Because then you'd be a carny.
I used to be a carny.
Yeah, funny story.
I used to be a carny at the LA County Fair. I'll tell you
That's
stories.
not quite the same.
It was, yeah. I'll tell you stories.
Please don't. So
We
I watched
could-
this episode of Criminal Minds once, and it involved carnies, blah blah blah, and the pivotal scene where they went and found the carnies they shot in the parking lot behind the Joanne's in Glendale, back before the new Joanne went up, the
Sure.
fancy Joanne that is now. I lived like 3 blocks from there and like didn't sleep for a week. I was like, creepy clown business.
All right. Well, we'll just leave the clowns behind. And
Please do.
Let's... were there any other character builder questions? Okay. We can always come back to it. It's not a forever hold your peace kind of thing. So, forever hold your pizza. The next thing I'd like to go into is our Decma questions. But before we do that, we have to do a little bit more thorough introduction of who your characters are, how you came to be in Sharn, and maybe before we do that even, we should decide... Oh, buddy. He seemed distraught.
He asked me if I was on Happy Jacks. I think that's what concerned him. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's a good guy. Listeners, we had a mini Rob come into view. So we should decide roughly where you all would have run into each other, interest-wise, and then we can get into introductions a little bit more detailed. There is a literal adventurers guild in the city that, you know, sort of codifies the classic D&D adventurer concept. There's a university, there's a docks, there is an airship pier way up in the sky where airships dock. You're also on the dagger, what's it called? The hilt. Yeah, you're in the hilt of the Dagger River, and that is a busy port. So there are lots of places that you all could have met up. You have done some adventuring together, so I want to figure out where all you met up and at least one adventure that you all did together.
Well, I know that my character typically fronts when they typically appear, they're kind of like genderly and racially ambiguous. Like they've got slightly pointy ears, they're kind of medium height, they have shaggy hair, they've got a swell up their chest, but you don't know if that's the armor or not. But they also look fairly young. But since we've all been adventuring together, you would know that that Nyx is actually like 80.
Oh, okay.
But because Nyx is a changeling, the only time you notice that is that at the end of the adventures, Nyx goes to bed because they're tired.
Mm-hmm.
So I would imagine that I would probably find these young whippersnappers at the Adventurers Guild looking for somebody to make me feel young again.
Sure. That could work. Is anyone opposed to making the Adventurers Guild part of our background? No? I mean, it's a lot of... it's a really common way for folks who are new to the city to come in and, meet, level up. It's like Grindr, as far as I understand Grindr. No, it's not anything like that. Who are you nodding at, Rob? Are you nodding?
I don't understand. Oh my!
I'm nodding at you, buddy.
I don't know what you're looking at, though.
I'm just gonna go back to chat, which is debating whether you or Nick are taller.
Oh, Nick is like a foot taller than me.
And then whether Nick is taller than Abria?
Yeah. Yes.
I don't think I've ever seen Nick actually stand up.
Oh yeah, he's like 6'6" or 6'7" or something. Like, yeah, he is taller than most people. Yeah. Okay, so Adventurers Guild. Eli, how did Alabas turn up at the Adventurers Guild?
I was thinking that maybe Ventus and Alibas had adventures coming to the city, because since we're both coming from different areas, that maybe along the road there, that they got into some sort of shenanigans. And I'm thinking Ventus and Alibas probably went to the Adventurers Guild to look for more people to help remedy whatever the issue was.
Okay, I like that idea. Ventus, what do you think about that?
I am fully supportive.
Okay, so you all came in to the Adventurers Guild to solve a problem that you had heard about outside of the city? Yeah.
Like we're looking for a fighter and a cleric, and then we ended up with a thief and a...
No, you nailed it. First try.
Like you do.
Did it.
You're looking for a cleric. You got a rogue, a warlock, and a sorcerer.
Mm-hmm. I'm
That's
a
it.
sorcerer at that.
With the rapier, no less, like a stabby sorcerer.
A stabberer. Sorcerer
Yeah.
stab?
Yeah.
It was a slow day at the Adventurers Guild. Everybody else went out on something big.
Yeah.
We just got the dregs.
Who wants to fight the dragon? We do.
Mhm.
They all
guys,
got
I
up
need to
super
look-
late that day.
Could I make a suggestion that you all had, if you had come in from the east, the two of you, maybe you would have passed through Zilspar on the lightning rail. Zilspar is, I don't know what it actually is in game, but now it's a mining town because I'm thinking of Feldspar. And the mines were overrun with something, maybe, monsters of some kind. And
I don't even see it as being that like aggrandized. I think it's just something super small that the two of us were like, oh man, we need some help.
sure.
Like something super basic. I mean, I don't like, so you're talking about mines being overrun by, potentially tens or hundreds of things. I'm thinking like Oh man, that bugbear there is really kicking that poor woodcutter. Maybe we should go get some people.
I like what you're thinking of, but like by the time you go into the city and go to, you're like talking about popping into New York to get a couple people and come back while somebody's getting beat up.
100%.
Oh, so I don't know if the scale fits of what we're talking about. Like it takes days to go into the city and get to the Adventurers Guild and take Post-its off of the wall and call the numbers and wait to hear back and
So maybe it's not quite that tiny, but
Right.
still something that the two of us potentially could have handled on our own. And again, Eli, like if you guys more like hard charging and stuff like that, feel free to call me off on this. But just playing it like super conservatively, like, ooh, man, there's 3 of them and 2 of us. We need to go get some help.
Yeah, I mean, it could be back at level 1, level 2. I don't know, Eli, what do you think?
I can kind of see that because since they are outsiders, they don't want to be labeled as, hey, those guys showed up from somewhere else and then just started rampaging across the countryside.
Sure.
So I think I'm in agreement with like, hey, let's try to get some locals and maybe we could try to hash this out, but then it didn't turn out to be that way.
Yeah.
Think of the optics.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Think of
Okay.
the optics.
So that means that...
So you got yourselves a couple of changelings.
I mean, we didn't know at the time.
Yes.
Get you a changeling who can do both.
Yeah.
I like to think that Nyx and I knew each other.
Sure.
For this a little bit, just because I feel like I would have, when I came to Sharn, kind of sought out some changelings to see if I could form a sense of that community.
Sure. Yeah.
There's
I
probably
think there's probably a network of changelings in the city too that sort of get in touch with each other, being a relatively small group and wanting to protect each other and look out.
Well, and just like the rogues have the rogues can't, I imagine changelings have something similar, like passwords or,
Ooh, I
like
that
something
idea.
that kind of says like there's a change in this, some kind of speech pattern that says like, hey, I'm a changeling. I think you might
like
be too.
Or like a Sixth Sense kind of situation.
Yeah.
It's
You're like me.
A Peter Tingle.
Yes,
We have a Peter Tingle.
We
Okay.
have a Spider-Verse.
Yes.
I love it. That's
Yes.
not in the material, but it is now. That's okay.
Could you not call it my Peter Tingle, please, Aunt May?
Changeling tingle. Okay. So changelings can identify each other like vampires can.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, I suppose if you want to put it in role-playing terms, God.
No, it's good.
I mean, watch how you speak of the kindred.
Obviously. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do is why don't we do our introductions, and then we're coming up on 2 hours, and I don't know if anyone else could use a break, but I know I could. So why don't we do our
Me too.
introductions, say who are a little bit more about our characters, and then when we come back from break, we'll do our Decima questions. Folks, if you're watching live, I'm just gonna mute our screens, and we'll keep streaming live, so you can hang out here and listen for us to come back. But let's go through Claire. Give us a little more detail about Nyx.
Can someone else go first? I haven't done this in a bit.
Yes,
Thank you.
Eli.
Oh, darn it.
Why didn't you just make Rob go first? I know you want him to
Rob, go
last,
first.
but like,
Rob, go first. Set the bar.
Sure, we're gonna go down this path. I am, as Jason mentioned, a Loxodon warlock. These are elephant people that are coming from the Magic the Gathering source book, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
So coming from the plains on the other side of the Mournlands from Sharn, it's not actually we are a big people, but there are not a lot of us.
Right.
So, but we also tend to kind of wander away from each other. We each have our ranges would be too animalistic, but while there's a sort of a couple of central villages, we tend to spread out because in the plains, like obviously you have a ton of land, but since we're such big people, like we don't want to be confined. And so I became fascinated with kind of what else was out there. And so walking along one day, I ended up upon, you know, something in the forest, and I haven't quite figured this out yet. And so, Jason, if you have any ideas, I'm willing to listen this one time. Of a something that was trapped, and basically decided, like, oh, like, hey, like I'm gonna go help it out, and it ended up being an old one. So that and then we kind of had a conversation, and it sort of took a fancy to me, and kind of what I was doing, and sort of my mental way of thinking about things, and said, hey, let me help you out a little bit. Me being open to things was like, sure, this sounds fine to me. Some power, and I can help you, you can help me, sounds good. And then so kind of meandered along, and basically it's not quite Kang from Kung Fu walking the earth, but I realized the planes were just kind of boring, right? Like everything we believed in was still sort of pre-industrial, and it just wasn't that excitement out there. There wasn't that level of
you're looking for that hustle and bustle.
Kind of, yeah, but it was all sort of mundane, right? Like everything, like there was a routine, and the routine was kind of boring. And I was like, I know there's a bigger, wider world out there. And so that's kind of what I'm going for. And everyone kept talking about Sharn. So once I go around the Mournland, I tried going through the Mournland, wasn't a huge fan, backtracked, went around.
Yeah, you can't really go through the Mournland.
Yeah. And then
you can go across Kraken Bay, which has its own problems, or you can go up through Karnath.
Yeah. I think I went north.
Okay.
If I look through, let me look at the map super fast.
Yeah, up around Lake Siri and through Karnath and Thrain.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Silverwood, that area.
Okay. Is it all right if you met your patron in the Nightwood?
Sure.
Okay. So what you have as your patron, as far as you understand it, is there was a small group of folks living in the woods, humans, elves, half-elves, some halflings who all live together. And cannibal is the wrong word, but they wanted to eat a god. And so they did their best to track one down and trap it. And a lot of them got killed in the process of trapping it. So that's why there weren't very many of them left when you turned up. And you were able to take out the rest of them and then make a deal with this thing. And so far, I think, if it's all right with you, your understanding of this thing is your patron is the concept of the fact that the stars come out at night.
Okay.
Does that work for you?
I don't know if I follow the stars come out at night, like deep in the heart of Texas, or.
Well, no, it's that an old god patron should be kind of unknowable to the mind.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In that it's the old gods are the sort of Cthulhu-esque,
yes.
Madness inducing to some hard to contain concepts.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So the way that I would communicate with them is they showed me a series of, or a grouping, I guess, of stars, and like I trace it with my finger in order to kind of call them, and then there are whispers on the wind.
I like that. And I think probably what they trapped had coalesced into a sort of Ziggy Stardust kind of figure.
Absolutely.
That you were able to have a conversation with, and they were going to try and cook it and eat it, which wasn't going to work, but they, were going to give it their best shot.
Did I free him with a Bowie knife?
Yeah, obviously.
That's
that-
not a knife.
That's a knife.
This is a knife.
I see you've played Knifey Spoony before.
Okay. So you freed the Starman, and made your way through the Nightwood. And I think when you made it to Korth, probably happened on a couple, a Goliath couple who are traders, and they have a shipping contingent that uses the lightning rail, and they get on with their shipments, and it's like what do you call it? They're like bonded couriers, but they often take on guards, and they are also huge. I mean, not literally battle mat huge, but they're like 8 feet tall and your size. So I also like a lot of the Goliath art that's out there. So does that work for you? Couple as this couple is a man and a woman couple.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool. Probably have like a couple of 6 foot tall kids. I like that. Children who
Good.
are bigger than humans.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. And was it also in those woods? Did we meet Alabas in the Nightwood?
Eli, which way are you coming from? Like, where's your home?
I was thinking Valinar. I think that's probably where the elves are. Just kind of looking at the map.
Oh, well, you two might have met on your way to the Nightwood then.
Yeah, so we're saying that the Mournland is bad juju.
Oh yeah. So a little bit of background for Eberron is this whole continent was a bunch of countries at war with each other, including this country of Siri that was where the Mournland is now. That country is gone. Some sort of explosion went off, and this whole area is basically impassable. The lines that you see going through it are no longer active. Those were lightning rail lines that nobody actually uses now. The various points of interest there are they're what used to be there. Like, we don't know what's in the Mortlands anymore. It was completely blown out, and the war stopped because no one's 100% sure why this happened. It's like the scariest thing that's ever happened. An entire section of the continent was wiped out, and nobody understands why. And the war stopped like 3 years ago because we don't know what'll happen if we continue. So the Mournland is pretty darn scary. That's just a thing that, like, there are tales that some adventurers go in, and some people have found cool magic shit and whatever, but most people think those claims are BS, and it's just a big scary question mark. So yeah, no one goes through there casually, and basically no one has ever traversed there and come out normal. Or come out. So that's worth noting.
Is that whole section, like down into where the Glass Plateau is too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The Glass Plateau is a thing that has been observed after the explosion from far away. And we know that there's a big strip of glass going down the middle of the Mournland. But that's been viewed from miles away. Like Gorgonhorn is a spot where people are studying the Mournland from. Stonefeather Spire is a big tower where wizards are studying the Mournlands.
What about Crimson Water?
Let's see. Where do you see that?
That's that little dot of red in the middle of the Mournlands over by the Glass Plateau.
Yeah, that's another one where a whole, like, they've viewed it from Ter Valior, and that whole lake that used to be there, it looks like blood, and we're not totally sure if that's the case because it's still like several miles into the Mournland to see it in person, and the crews, the couple of crews they've sent in to investigate it, haven't come back. Also, there are stories that like somebody went into the moorland and came out and they're still alive, but their skin is made of bricks now. And, somebody else went in and they came back out a clockwork warforged person.
Wow.
Other people have gone in and just been obliterated or dissolved or went insane or any number of things. And so, it's a big, scary question mark that people just, for the most part, don't mess with if they don't have to, because they don't have to. And that's, so the war has stopped, which is great. And our backstory should definitely include, we can think about this before next time, but our backstory should include what were you up to during the war? Because it was just a few years ago. And maybe you were a soldier, maybe you were an objector, maybe you were supporting the war in other ways, maybe you were just kind of oblivious and living in the jungle. Every nation on this continent was involved in the war. I mean, this was like World War II level, probably more like World War I, because we didn't have like a Nazi threat type of analog from World War II. But the current day is very much that post-war, all of the like factories and war machines have ground to a halt, and they like not sure what to do with those anymore. And that's the world that Eberron is adjusting to now. So that's worthwhile. Okay, so Ventus and Alabas made their way up through Karnath. They discovered the Starman together, I guess. Is that okay, Ventus?
Yeah. No, I'm totally fine with that. I was actually gonna say, like, I saw what
So
Eli was.
I just had a question about warlocks. Like, would that be considered like fiendish or not nature, like the old one? Like, how would?
I don't think it would register as either. They're not fiends, and they're not devils. So, and they're not celestials. They are other, a capital O. So,
Okay.
they don't fit in the, what do you call it? They don't fit in the standard pantheon. Like, there is a pantheon of gods in Eberron that people see demonstrable evidence of, right? So, like, it's okay not to worship the gods, but it's a big stretch to say you think the gods don't exist. Like, that's a pretty incredible statement to make in this world. You could say you don't like them, you don't respect them, you despise the gods or whatever, but to say they don't exist is a pretty wild statement. So,
because I think that he would see it as, if it's not totally destructive to nature, like if he touches something and like a tree wilts or something, then he would see that as like, oh, that's terrible. But since it's more of like a magic he doesn't necessarily understand, like I would think that he would just see it, like have a wait and see attitude towards it.
Yeah. I mean, Rob, it's not like nature wilts at your touch, right?
No, by no means. Actually, like I'm more of like we grew up in a very naturalistic society, not quite shamanistic, but sort of along those lines. Just fast forward technology wise. And actually, I was gonna say, because I don't know anything about magic and kind of this deal that I cut, the way I see Eli doing it, and like attuning kind of with his God with like either morning prayers or however you do it, dude. I was gonna kind of adjust the same way, and that's sort of how I talk to my deal maker in the morning, like, and I don't know if the guy or if the thing answers, but I'm just like, well, you're doing it, you've got some power, there's some power flowing through me now, I'm gonna do it the same way.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, cool. So for Nyx and Zay in Sharn, what was a little bit of your upbringing like? Are you close to the same age, or is Zay a lot younger than Nyx?
Zay is a lot younger than Nyx.
Okay.
Zay traveled with their family up and down the trade, kind of like minor trade routes.
Like a caravan type family.
Yeah, of Breland. They didn't trust outsiders. That's how they were brought up. Is that no good would come of, really mingling and letting other people and other species know who you were as a changeling.
Okay.
The blade soul aspect of my character was a known inherited trait.
Okay.
So I actually trained under an elder from my own clan for a time, but then
did you say known or gnome?
Known.
Okay. Great.
And I trained under an elder from my own clan for a time, but after the war ended, so throughout the war we kept up small trades, especially, which I feel like was especially important in the smaller towns around Breland and Thrain.
Sure.
During the war, because moving goods back and forth was really difficult, but my clan could do it well. But at the end of the war, after the Mournlands, like after the big event, we went too close to the Mournlands. And my clan got killed.
Okay.
And the way I've been thinking of it is like the soul of the thing that killed my clan was in this ring that I now have on my finger.
Okay. Cool. So then after they died, you made your way back to Sharn.
Yes.
To try and find your footing.
Yeah. I was adrift, but I knew that from our travels through there before, that other changelings were there.
Okay.
So I wanted to find more people like me and more camaraderie and try to get out of this insanity that is now whispering in my head all the time.
Sure. And Nix, what was your upbringing like?
So Nix was very much a street urchin. Either ran away or was cast out of home at a young age. They don't really remember. They just know that they've pretty much always been on their own. And they grew up in the rough city rough. So they learned a lot of skills about how to take things from people, how to grift, how to pull short cons, long cons, all that kind of stuff. And then during the war, they started selling. They were an information broker.
Yeah. Okay.
Selling secrets to both sides.
Sure.
And their entire network was killed when the Mournlands imploded. So they were like, well, guess I got to figure out something else to do. And so they're like, well, I have a lot of skills and a lot of experience. Why don't I go try and mentor some people? And if I can find some changelings like me to help, great. And that's how they came along to Vex.
Cool. Okay.
Zay. That's a completely different Vex. No, Zay.
Yeah.
I can't keep it in my brain.
Okay, so Zay and Nix met up on the streets at some point and just kind of clicked. Is that what we're talking about?
I'm thinking maybe Zay was looking for help and maybe got pointed in my direction as someone who might help them. Does that resonate with you?
Pooja?
I'm sorry.
That's
okay.
Got distracted.
That's okay. I was thinking that the way that Zay and Nix caught on to each other is Zay got pointed in my direction to as someone that might be able to help Zay out.
Yeah. Somebody who showed me the ropes and ease me into city life. I like that.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. I think that gives us a great platform to start from. So why don't we take 5? We'll try, dear listener, we'll try to keep it as close to 5 minutes as we can. and we'll be back here at 6:15.
But if you have questions, keep putting them in chat so we
Oh,
can
yeah.
just jump in and
Yeah,
talk
because we'll
about it.
see them or answer from the toilet or whatever. So,
You could answer from the toilet.
no judgment. All right. So we'll be back in 5. Thanks, everybody. Hi, welcome back, everybody. We're playing D&D on Happy Jacks. We'll say D&D-ish, which is always going to be the case with me
D&D-ish.
at the helm, so that's what you get. We're playing 2D10 D&D, where we swap out the 20-sided die for two 10-siders with some other little modifications to make it fit. So anyway, we are back. We've just introduced our characters. Eli is playing Alabas, the Paladin. Pooja is playing Zay, the Blade Soul Sorcerer. Rob is playing Ventus, the Loxodon Warlock. And Claire is playing Nyx, the Changeling Rogue. Pooja, I should have said also is playing a Changeling Blade Soul Sorcerer. So all the secrets are out. There we go. Anything I should add before we move on?
What's Alabas's race again?
He's elf.
He's an elf.
Elf.
A wood elf, specifically.
Oh, I was going
A
to say,
wood
which
elf,
kind of elf?
specifically.
Speak Elvish or Sylvan?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe a bit of both.
Which is a fun thing. I enjoy picking races for my characters in D&D. It's one of the things that I find fun
Yeah.
about character creation. And so my character speaks Common, Infernal, Orc, and Primordial.
Sure.
That's
And the
awesome.
Infernal is what the soul inside my ring talks to me in.
I love it.
I got a bunch of languages because of being a rogue and being a changeling. So I speak Common, Dwarvish, Elvish, Orc, Thieves' Cant, and Undercommon.
Oh, fantastic.
Nice.
I love all of it. Okay, so we're going to move into the Decima portion of our night, where we're going to build our backstories a little bit and see how all these characters fit together and fit into the world. And I'm going to do my best to take notes and then lose this piece of paper and rewatch the recording later and make more notes on a new piece of paper and then talk about it in Slack with you.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad you got that all planned out already.
Just to review, we are playing D&D. We are launching our D&D session with a round of Decima. Decima is made by our friend Kimmy. You can find it at goldenlassogames.com/Decima, I think, DECUMA. And it is the premier start your session game. It's the R&D before your RPG, and it helps you set up everything you need for your campaign, which really, now that it exists, I'm trying to figure out how I started campaigns without it, and I just feel like a doofus. So we use this now. This is get in, loser. We're going to Decima. So I have emailed all of you 6 emails, which I'm sure you haven't opened because in the subject line it said, do not open. They also say whether they're relationship questions or a location question or a group question. So here's how this is going to work. I'm going to present a group question at the start of each round, a group question which none of you has. And I'm going to present the question. We're not going to answer it. We're going to go around, do everyone else's current question, and then when we come back to me, we will answer the group question that I presented at the top of the round. And it gives us a minute to think about what that group question is. Group questions, genuinely, we want to find a consensus on. It's not up to me to decide. All of these are your answers. I'm going to contribute as little as possible, or maybe just give some background knowledge or ask a clarifying question. This stuff is yours to build. You're building this world. I will design adventures around what you come up with. I have some ideas for the way things could kick off. If we do that, great. If none of that makes sense, we'll move into a different adventure. We'll just keep it as fluid as possible. So the first group question I will present is, and there are also a couple references to location in this game. So location will be kind of the equivalent of a dock ward, right? Because I think that's probably where the Adventurers Guild is down by the docks, and it's not specifically a Waterdeep reference, but it is, sort of the working class section of the city, and adventurers show up. There's a literal guild where you can hire adventurers to go and take care of situations for you. and that's where you folks have found yourself, is at the Adventurers Guild. And as of a couple of levels ago, you all are level 4 adventurers right now. You four have spent the last 2 levels adventuring together, so that's represents a fair amount of time and commitment. So you all know each other, and we're going to find out how and why and what that means. And the first question I have that we're going to answer in a minute is, what do we as a group celebrate? And this is separate from the town that you live in, your neighborhood, cultural background, and whatever. The 4 of you celebrate something, and it's significant, and it's something you all want to remember and celebrate. So think about that, and we'll come back to it. Let's see, who's played Decima more than once? Okay, Pooja, would you like to open your first relationship question?
Sure.
Okay, so our relationship questions all have a blank in them. And for those who don't know, the blank is going to be filled in with one of your fellow players. You have 3 of these, so you have 1 for each other player. If you open it and it really doesn't make sense or it doesn't jive with your character, that's fine. I'll just look up another one and give you that one instead. There's a process in the game where you could like X a question and move on to the next one. But it's kind of fun to try and figure out if these can work as drawn. So I drew you all some questions. Pooja, what's your first one?
You suspect that blank has deep feelings for you, but they haven't said anything.
Oh, bang. Just right into the romance. Well, I guess
It's so good.
It doesn't have to be romantic feelings, but somebody cares deeply for you. What do you think?
I am going to say that I think Ventus has deep feelings for me. And I don't know whether they're romantic or just because of like this connection to the arcane.
Okay. Ventus, how do you feel about that?
I am fine with it. I do not know where my feelings lie yet either.
Okay, that's
So
fair.
we will have to explore that as characters.
Sometimes
Dun, dun, dun.
emotions
I
are
like it.
confusing. Okay, great. Well, let's go to Ventus then. What's your first one say?
Let me pull up my emails
Really? I
because
thought
I
you
did
would
not
be
want to look at the previews.
Prepared.
Relationship. No, I was not cheating. That's why I don't.
Oh,
do that
I see.
crap. Jeez.
For once.
Oh, Sam.
You have plans for something, but worry blank won't like it. What is it? I have to think about what I would plan.
Yeah, 2 things. What are you planning and who doesn't like it?
Okay. All right. I don't know what I'm planning yet. But I think that there's more to explore. Like I want to go down a deeper path on exploring some of the magic and like where it can go, because this is more innate natural magic as opposed to magic learned or magic through worship.
Mm-hmm. And
so I'm not quite sure how Alabas is gonna go for it, because it seems like his magic is more structured, coming from the gods through him as a manifestation, whereas mine's more open-ended, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, because I could see that going that way too, especially if it gets more upon the stuff needs to be sacrificed for different types of ingredients that are needed to be obtained, that he could be kind of like, maybe, not really in the wheelhouse.
Yeah. I gotta figure out what to plan though, because I'm not a planner. I'm a doer.
No, maybe you have like a to-do list that the Starman wants you to accomplish, or one thing that the Starman wants you to do.
Maybe the Starman might give me
Go
suggestions on
Yeah.
what that would be.
Okay. I will make a note for Starman suggestions. Great. How about we have Claire go next?
Okay. Where'd you go away? Relationship. Blank makes you wonder what life would be like if you had chosen a different path.
That's a good question.
That is a great question, and I'm gonna say Zay, because Zay is also a changeling who came from who is alone, but they sought out help and network and connection rather than sinking into themselves. And yeah, I would say that Zay definitely makes Nyx wonder what life would be like if Nyx had chosen a different path.
Zay, does that work for you?
Yeah, great.
Cool.
I like it. I like that we have two changelings in the party who have
Me too.
such different outlooks
Yeah.
on life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Eli, what's your first relationship question?
Doesn't matter which one of these I open.
Nah.
I'm gonna open the middle one then.
Rebel.
Blank's connections helped you get something important. Who got it and what was it? I'm gonna say Claire, because I think that the other three of us are kind of like outsiders a little bit more to the city, I think. And
Yeah,
I think
okay.
Claire already had that kind of like deep knowledge of the city and be able to get that. So Claire was able to get the information, but what it was the armor. So I think I need to think about what the situation was, but as a through line, like she got the information that allowed him, or they got the information that allowed him to be able to go after the armor.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like something that Nyx would know and do and share for the right price.
I love it. Okay, so to return to our other question, we have too many windows open. We as a group celebrate something. What do we celebrate? This could be like the thing we do at the end of every adventure, or the fact that you always celebrate someone's birthday in the party. It could be
Dritzmas.
Dritz. Dritz is not in this world.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yes, Xing that right out.
One thing I could think of just through, I don't know why I keep spacing on Rob's character's name. Ventus's and Alibas's backstory is like centering. And I think that he doesn't really say, like Alibas doesn't necessarily say a prayer, but he meditates at the end of every day to like recenter himself.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's something that we could do as a group. Just have some sort of time where that we can kind of come together and make sure we shut out like whatever's going on in the rest of the city.
Sure, that's a possibility. How does everyone feel about the group meditation celebration?
Sure.
I mean, I already do it because I've seen him do it. So to me, it's natural. Yeah.
I definitely got dragged along and I was like, okay, the kids are doing this. All right. They're going to make me get down on my knees. Okay, here we go.
Mindfulness. Pooja, how do you feel about that?
I like it. It's a good, like,
So
connection as a group.
Daily mindfulness.
We do daily meditation, daily group meditation.
I love it.
Your inner self. I hate you.
Okay, so the next question that we will answer at the end of a round of questions is... I didn't look at these ahead of time. This is great.
Oh, no.
Our group broke something important.
Oh, no.
What was it and why? How did we break it?
I love this one.
Okay, so that's just let that percolate in the back of your mind for a moment. And let's actually do location questions. And we're not going to be able to do a proper map, but let's think of our location as alternating. Like we could think about this sort of dock ward area. We could think about Sharn as a whole. And we got to make Sharn our own, regardless of, just so I know, do any of you have like a deep love or familiarity with Eberron as a topic or a fictional setting?
I mean, I've played a couple of campaigns. I love the setting, but I also don't. I'm not super steeped in the lore, so like,
Okay. I don't want to take away something that someone's like, oh, I was really excited for that day or whatever. That I don't want to take away something that someone was looking forward to.
The magic rails. I want to ride on the magic rails.
The lightning rail, yeah, that is definitely going to be included. Okay.
I mean, I'm more excited about whether or not we're going to encounter all of our random characters from Strategicon.
I don't know what you mean by that. Okay, so that's good. We broke something, and we're gonna get into our locations, and we can be a little bit flexible with what that location means. We're gonna make Eberron our own beast at this point. Let's go in reverse this time. Let's have Eli. Wait, did Eli go last?
Yes.
Yeah, Eli. Why don't you do our first location question?
You impressed a group that was important to our location. What did you do and who was it?
Okay, so impressing a group in this context could be impressing the Adventurers Guild. It could be impressing the Dockworkers Union. It could be impressing the managers of the city. I think there's a city council. It could be a lot of different things. So
it could be one of the dragon marked families, right? Like,
yes, exactly. And ultimately, Eli, the answer is yours as a location question. But if you want to ask for input or whatever, of course, that's entirely your prerogative. It's the group questions where everyone has to agree on the answer.
Because I'm thinking Alibas is not necessarily someone who's going to look for the highest, like, I guess, social group to try to like schmooze. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like he's going to be more like a man of the people. So one thing I could see him doing was maybe there was a rampant shark attack on the dock workers or something to do with the shipping, and he talked to the sharks and told them to like, hey man, there's other places you could skip, and they're like, hey, they're dumping all this trash into our ocean, like, can you get them to stop?
Oh, okay.
So then he came up with some sort of impasse.
Is it okay if we adjust it to the krakens, the squids and whatnot?
Illithids?
No, squids, like kraken squid creatures, not illithids. That's a very different thing.
Squid friend, not food.
Yes. Just squid rather than shark. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I've got some stuff to fit into that idea. Does that work for everyone? That what was the phrasing of the question again?
You impressed a group that was important to our location. What did you do and who was it? So since the Adventurers Guild,
you impressed a group. Yeah. Okay. So you're saying you impressed the dock workers.
Right.
Okay.
Cool. And the Krakens, I guess.
And the squids.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, the dock and the Kraken. That's probably something the four of you. All of these questions are kind of like stuff that the four of you did together. So that's cool though. So that was an episode where Alibas was kind of taking the lead and getting in there and like, hey, I'll solve this. Let me talk to them. Okay, I like that a lot. Let's go to Claire.
Okay. You idolize someone in our location. Who is it, and why are they inspirational? I kind of want to go against type and pick something really surprising and quirky. Like maybe they completely, like if there's like a royal family that they could follow,
like a noble or something like that.
Like you think of the people that are completely obsessed with like Kate Middleton and Prince William, like that kind of deal where like there's one faction of a royal family that Nyx is just like, oh my god, and did you hear? And then
Yeah, and it would be something that kind of all of us are impressed with to different degrees, obviously.
Sure.
So how does everyone feel about having sort of noble personage that we're all idolizing, or at least looking up to, like somebody who seems to be doing right by the people, let's say.
No issues, but one of the things that I was thinking about, since Claire mentioned it earlier about the lightning rails, what if it's that house, like somebody higher up from the house that maintains
Ooh.
that?
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
The
good with that.
House Orien.
Orien.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, they're like the house. I follow all of the gossip and the details of the House Orien.
Okay, so House Orien, some scion of that house. I'll come up with something for that.
Okay.
What is it that you like about them? Why do you idolize them?
I think Nyx would say that it's because they're just so elegant and everything they do is perfect. But I'm going to say, as a player, they supported like during the war, they gave money to a shelter she was staying at.
Oh, okay. Supported shelter.
Like that.
Okay. Cool. I will come up with an NPC for that. Let's go to Rob.
All right, going back to email, so I do not cheat. This is one of the location ones. Our location had a valuable resource, but it's gone now.
Mm.
Oh.
What was it, and why is it gone?
Squid!
Well, actually, so funny enough, I was thinking about something along those lines. Is because of the conversation between Alabas and the squid. There were actually, the squid had an ecosystem around them of like a lot of minnows and a lot of various fish that came along and fed on, whatever the squid were done with. And once the squid went away, fishing in the docks area dried up.
Oh.
And they had to push further and further out to more dangerous waters.
Okay, so the waters around the docks have become a lot quieter.
Yeah.
Okay. How does that sit with everyone? Is that okay?
Mm.
Okay. Fishing is dried up.
So while we have the dock workers and kind of everybody's gratitude
Mm-hmm.
for kind of what was going on, there's now the beginnings of an undercurrent of irritation from the fishermen.
Yeah,
And
an
especially some
undertow,
of the-
if you will.
Well, oh.
I'll allow it. But the current situation is they're growing irritated potentially with us, and the commercial fishermen aren't too concerned, but it's the everyday lower level fishermen with only like smaller boats that can't go as far, that there may be a tsunami of hate coming.
Yeah, the
So
tide
you're
is turning.
saying that the tide is turning. Yes,
Yeah,
the tide of
nice.
public opinion.
There you go. Thank you.
Got it.
Thank all of you. I appreciate it and love each and every one
I
of you.
love us. We're good.
Okay.
We don't want to drag the bottom
No.
with these analogies.
So
That's
net.
That's a different podcast.
Yeah. Okay, Pooja, what's yours?
Okay, so my first location question is, what is a positive turn of phrase that is used in our location?
Oh, that's fun.
So I like to think,
That's so Raven.
No.
That is not Raven. Stop trying to make fetch happen.
I mean, you're so dragon.
Yes! And that's good?
Yes.
Yeah, is that good?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
You're
good.
so dragon! Shut up. No, you're so dragon. Oh my god.
Because, with the dragon marks and everything.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of like cool and fabulous.
Mm-hmm. And also like a little bit like if you're ballin',
Okay.
you got a little
Ah.
coin to spend.
Oppa
Okay.
Gangnam Style.
Okay.
So you want to like if
Dragon
you're
style.
If you're spilling that shiny,
Mm-hmm.
you're so dragon today.
Okay, cool. Is that unique to your ward, or is that like a whole Sharn saying?
I feel like it's more of a Sharn
Yeah, like it
But
probably
it's
started here, and then the upper crust picked it up, and and then it was
they appropriated it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and made shirts that said it.
Oh God.
It says it on the butt of pants and on bags.
Yeah, it just says dragon on
So
on
dragon.
pants. Instead of like pink or juicy, it says dragon.
Yep. Yep.
I don't want to be dragon ass.
I love it.
Is this a good time to mention that I have a familiar that's a pseudo dragon?
Yes, I would like to know that about you.
So good. Is it a wyvern?
No, it just says it's a pseudo dragon. Like I don't know if there's a specific type or anything.
Oh, yeah, that's a specific species. We can get into that later, but yeah, it's a really specific creature. Let's return. That's all 4 of you, right? Everyone
Yes.
do a location? So, returning to this question, our group broke something important. What was it, and how and why did we break it? So first, what did we break? This is important, by the way, not like somebody's wagon or cabbages.
I think we broke a lightning rail.
So
Oh, no.
I was actually
That's
thinking
what
about
I
that.
was thinking.
I was thinking that same thing, but then would we have gained? What was it like because the second part of yours, Claire, was, and they liked us, or we look up to somebody and we gain their favor.
Yeah, well, no, it doesn't say that you have their favor. You admire this person from House Orion. They don't know that you exist necessarily.
They do now because we broke it.
Maybe we didn't. Maybe we just broke like a station or like
A connection.
Yeah, it took a connection out of commission for a couple of days. Like it wasn't like permanently broken, but it also
It doesn't have to be permanent, but it does have to be important.
yeah, and that would be especially like if it was in the middle of the city, like it was a commuter rail.
Mhm.
Like, oh man, can we swear on this channel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, you fuck now.
Yeah. Yeah, so we broke like the equivalent of a Union Station, I think, or a Grand Central, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Why though? The eternal question.
Oh, why?
It wasn't
I
on
think
purpose.
I think we had to.
Ooh.
To save the day.
I'm thinking about,
we
like,
were
a runaway-
preventing a greater tragedy. Like
That's-
if it was there was a runaway train or like
That's how Eli impressed the squid people. Sorry, I didn't mean to speak over you.
No, go ahead.
But like that, maybe that's how like that we had to break the station so that the train wouldn't go careening off into the bay and like kill all of the fisher, like and electrocute the squid and the fishermen that were trying to get the squid. And that's how Eli impressed them by I'm getting crickets. So.
No. I'm processing, and I want to let Eli weigh in on that.
No, I'm cool with that because I mean it adds more volume to the story because I think that going out there and just being like, oh, I fixed the thing, like this gives it more weight to the story that he actually saved the ecosystem of the squids and allowed them to go somewhere else. Where if we wouldn't have done that, there'd be a giant train spilling whatever and electrocuting them.
Sure.
And it makes it more of a group thing.
Yeah.
The way Sharn is set up is very circular with all these towers, and I'm going to say that their Grand Central Station is called the Spoke, and you all broke the Spoke.
Oh no!
And
we broke the spoke,
and it was a big deal.
I hate it.
And here's what I'm going to add: your favorite person in the house in House Orion knows why you had to do this, right? But everyone else knows that you did this and is like, there had to be another way to solve that situation.
And
Like, you
thinks we're
can't
an
be
asshole.
serious, right? Like, there's no way you absolutely had to shut down all of the trains in Sharn to fix this problem.
Yes, there was only one way.
Okay, I love it. So you all are known for that. Fantastic. It didn't say you had to be famous for it, but now you are.
Now we are.
Okay, let's do
We're
some
that
more.
infamous.
Let's do some more relationship questions. Rob, what's your next relationship?
All right.
And I'm not writing down the relationship question, so hopefully you are. I've got enough on my page here, so be sure to keep track.
I'm going to respond to that email.
Hey, sure.
Oh, burn. There you go.
I love it.
She put it back on you. Suck it,
Cool.
Trebek.
I'm going to get 84 more emails.
It's obvious that blank is dealing with something serious and you can relate. Man, that's a toughie. Because
hold on. I have an important question, Rob.
Yeah.
Does Ventus have giant ears?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm like more akin to the African elephant as opposed to the Indian elephant.
Sure. This was an important question for me of like, I mean, proportional to be like you're 8 feet tall. You're not like a full size elephant, but
No.
yeah. Okay.
Ears.
But you have like ears the size of your head at least.
So when I have a token of feather fall that is a feather in my tusk, and my pseudo dragon on my side that is red and almost red with gold banding, I do not look like a copyrighted flying elephant.
No. Yeah, that would be an infringement if you did.
That would be terrible. We would.
Yeah.
It's too
That
bad
would
I
be a
can't,
takedown notice waiting to happen.
I can't imagine another mental image though now, so I
No.
guess I'll just have to embrace
Hey,
that.
what's another word for quarterstaff? Would be the
Staff.
bow.
A bow, yeah.
That's dumb. Sorry. It's obvious that blank is dealing with something serious and you can relate. Based on backstories and backgrounds, it makes sense to me that Zay obviously has something very serious, something serious going on. Man, the struggle is I don't know what I can relate with.
Well, but so in that instance, though, Zay has this ghost ring, and you're in contact with an otherworldly personage, and maybe you have some experience with you don't know exactly what Zay is going through, but I don't know if is that anything.
I mean, it's possible, but mine is more of the way that I'm approaching my otherworldly contact is information gathering and curiosity and open-mindedness. It's not soul-sucking.
Yeah, you're not
burden.
haunted by it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's where I'm just I think it's gonna. I've got to change my character maybe to give it a more, or at least
I feel
insert something.
This is one thing that I would probably keep more secret from the group.
Okay. So that may not be the best option there.
So here's a question for you, Pooja. Is obviously you're not going to tell us look, here's a ring with a soul in it. Lol, it talks to me, but
it whispers infernal nothings in my ear all night.
Oh, infernal nothings are the best. But obviously, my thinking was, do you show it? Do you show that haggard, those moments of deep introspection, the furrowed brows, or do you just there is a wall between the outside world and the inside mind?
I feel like I actually project more of a more put together front.
Okay.
I want people to think that I'm normal.
Okay.
And every once in a while that cracks. With how long we've been together, y'all have seen some weird shit go down with me. But I would say that most of the time, I'm looking for that family. I'm looking for that connection. I'm looking to belong.
Yeah.
Okay.
That could relate to your sort of, walking the earth kind of thing.
Yeah, sense of belonging, looking for a new family.
Yeah. Or not knowing what you're looking for.
I think that's probably more the interesting thing is that I don't know what I'm looking for. I'm expecting it to tell me once I find it. Whereas
you'll know when you see it.
Yeah, whereas Zay has like this targeted, like, there is my end goal. I will do what I can to get there. Is that a fair way of categorizing it?
Yeah, like I will reform myself on the inside, not just the outside.
Interesting. Okay.
Wow. All right.
Like whether or not I deserve it, it doesn't matter. I will make this happen because it's what because that's all I can that's why I open my eyes every day.
Cool.
That
That's
like
deep.
God, I love these freaking questions. So does that feel like it clicks into place for both of you?
I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I like it. It's like it's very two sides of the same coin kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the other thing about like good questions like this should say something about both of you, right? And that's why you also have to like check in and make sure that this is okay to put down for someone. So yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Well, Pooja, let's do yours next.
Okay. Next relationship. Blank convinced you to do something risky and you regret it. What did you do?
Hey, before we go, I forgot to do the prep for our next group question. So since we're only one person in, our next group question that we have to answer at the end of this round is, our group defies a set establishment. What establishment is it, and why are we against them? So that's something to think about. Pooja, I'm sorry. Can you read yours again?
It was blank convinced you to do something risky and you regret it. What did you do?
So my pre-question is, are you prone to risky endeavors, or are you risk averse? Normally.
I think I am prone to risky endeavors because I have done what it takes to survive.
Okay, so does that mean somebody enticed you to do something extra risky?
I think so. It's like I will normally take risks to keep what I have.
Okay. Yeah.
And in this case, this was a risk to get more for us.
Okay.
This was like a think how high you could fly kind of risk.
Okay, cool. So now let's zoom in on who got you to do that and what it was.
I think Nyx convinced me.
I was like, I know where this is going.
Okay.
Oh yeah, well it just seems
It totally makes sense. Yeah.
That it's like, oh, do you really want to fit it in the city? Like,
Ooh.
you really want to, like, you know what would really up your social standing here?
Yeah.
Okay. So what was the task?
We crashed like a big party from one of the for one of the guilds, like one of the major guilds.
Do you mean the House Orion
Which
party?
one?
The Orion
Yes.
ball?
I'm pretty sure that's what I
It
dragged
would
her
have to be. It would have
Come
to be.
on,
Okay.
it'll be super fun.
And
Orion's
just think
belt.
of the connections we could
Oh,
make and how it would help us all and how great it'll be.
We can literally be anybody that we want. So like,
and we were, except like everybody there, it was like a week after the incident with the smoke. And so like that was the talk of the party, and everyone there was trashing us.
I love it. I'd
Okay.
regret. I'd probably regret that too.
Okay. I like that a lot. That tells me a lot about both characters. This is fantastic. Oh, cool. House Orion's sigil is a unicorn.
Yes.
That's rad.
Can I just say, I kept trying to say the House Orion ball.
Yeah.
It's like if anyone is wondering what kind of books I'm reading lately.
I love it.
I knew.
Okay. So, also House Orion is mostly human for the record. That was something I was a little bit confused about. So, and what's interesting is House Kenneth invented the lightning rail. They're like the tinkering, artificer house. But House Orion is the courier transport focused, teleportation travel house. So Kenneth built the lightning rail, and House Orion maintains it, operates and maintains it. So that's they have a sort of a partnership in that role, but they are two distinct houses that have independent interests and wants. Okay, that's good to know. And let's go to Eli's next relationship question.
I'm doing the last one. Blank gave you good advice at a crucial moment. What happened? This one, I think it would probably be Ventus. No, I just got to think, what kind of crucial moment would it be?
You don't already have him for the other relationship question, do you?
No, I'd Claire for the first one.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I think it would probably go for the light rail incident, to get more. Because I think that our idea was that it was so destructive that maybe Alibas had a little bit of a crisis of faith.
Mm-hmm.
And Ventus gave him the good old, we need to do what's good at this moment and try to save everything for the greater good, even though it may be like superficially destructive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like the trolley argument, right? You're going along on a trolley, and you know that there's 5 people up ahead that it's going to kill.
We've all seen that episode of The Good Place.
I haven't, but it's a common philosophical morality argument.
It is, and it's the only episode of The Good Place that is named after a common morality novel.
Yeah, but basically the idea is you're in it's out of control, but you have the chance to like turn it. So do you either let those 5 people die, or do you turn it and kill potentially like 3 nuns or something like that? It's that moral conundrum.
Do you through inaction cause the death of more people, or do you act to cause the death of a single person? Yeah. And then you add in things like, are there doctors? Do you know some of the people? Like all that kind of stuff. Is one person tied down or not paying attention, and the 5 people are actually tied to the tracks? Like, there's all kinds of factors you can add to the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Was that kind of the dilemma that you're sort of going through?
Yeah. That's what I think, that his thing would be like, all life is precious. So then it'd be like, maybe his original thought to try to clear out the bay wasn't supposed to come at this kind of price.
Yeah, no, for me, I'm good with it because I see my character as more like neutral good, as opposed to, it's like, as long as you're trying to do the best job overall, yeah, it kind of sucks, but let's do what we can for the most possible people. So I'm completely in line with that.
All right, sounds good.
What was the phrasing of the question again?
Blunt gave you good advice at a crucial moment. What happened?
Oh, okay. And
so then that kind of like spurred Alibas to like take action to be able to start the destruction.
Okay, great. And the advice was from Ventus.
Mm-hmm.
And the advice was that the sacrifice is worth it.
That for the greater good.
Does that fit Ventus okay?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure that I had all this like boiled down to the implications. All right. I think, do we still need one from Claire?
Yes.
Okay.
Please. Blank could help you get something if you'd want to. If you, bleh. I'm gonna try that. Take two. Blank could help you get something you want if you'd ask. What keeps you from asking?
Holy crap, that's a good question.
That's a really good question. I'm gonna start with what I want. Maybe I'm gonna start with who it is and make that inform what I want.
Sure.
I'm thinking it's Alabas could help show me faith. So I don't think Nyx has a whole lot of faith. I think they feel like the gods have abandoned this timeline, you know. But Alabas clearly has faith in something and someone. But I think what keeps Nyx from asking is the fear that if Nyx suddenly believes in something, does that mean that I need to change my life? Does that mean that they need to make different decisions and be a different person?
Right. And if you don't ask, then you don't know.
Exactly.
I love it. That's a real
Yeah, that's
conundrum of faith.
And if you don't know, now you know.
Now you know.
Now you know. Perfect. Also with the Hamilton reference.
I was gonna go see it. Ugh.
Oh, dang. Yeah.
Oh.
Although it's in June, so my date might not be canceled, but my roommates were gonna go see it this week. And a bunch of my bandmates were gonna go see it next month, and that's not
The
happening.
whole world's upside down.
Oh.
All right. Well, so that's it for our relationship questions this round. The group question we have is... Did I not write this down? Well, bad job, GM.
Our group defies a set establishment.
Ah, yes, thank you.
What?
So, what is the set establishment, and why do we defy them?
So it's interesting, Claire, that you brought up faith. I was actually thinking it's probably one of the churches within, or I think it could be, not probably, I think it could be one of the churches within Sharn, because it seems like Alabas has more of a, while still stricter than, say, the magic casting that the rest of us do, still has a very loose code of conduct when it comes to religion, like being more like druidic and being more natural, and being more flowing in that direction, as opposed to the structure and stricture of what amounts to like a rigored church hierarchy within a major metropolitan area. So thought was one of the churches, but obviously completely open to anything else anybody else is thinking.
What was the question again?
It's we defy a set establishment in our location, which like could be a concept. It could be a taboo. It could be a church, like Rob was talking about. All of that is doable.
I mean, the part me personally I'm struggling with is I don't know Sharn as in depth.
Do you want some of the like major religions?
Or I mean, just I don't know what their establishments would be.
So a lot of the establishments are in honoring the dragon mark houses. Other establishments, the religions definitely play a big role. Let me find the major religions. There are analogs to, like, if you're more familiar with Faerun or whatever, there's an analog to all of those. But probably I think the Silver Flame, or probably the Silver Flame is one of the most ascendant churches, and it's the like lawful good, associated with a former mortal woman, a paladin, and is tied up in a lot of like, yeah, we will do the most good for the most people, blah, blah, blah. And then there's the sovereign host, which is 9, I think. Yeah, it looks like 9 other gods who kind of make up the most of the deities worshipped in Corvair, on the continent of Corvair. But the Silver Flame is like this, is not a person. It's like a force that surrounds us and binds us and holds the universe together. So that's a thing that, so a lot of Eberron campaigns will have it be like the Silver Flame is sort of a cult fringe idea, or the Silver Flame is a dominant idea, and it sort of sets the tone a little bit for what the world is like. We can leave the Silver Flame out and just have the sovereign host as the like 9 gods. Leave it a little bit more sort of ancient Greece or Egypt, or whether they had a whole pantheon to worship. It's flexible. So
I liked it. I think it sounds fun.
The Silver Flame.
Yeah. I think it sounds interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
agreed.
So you all defy the ascendancy of the Silver Flame. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Because you want people to go back to worshiping the 9, or any other reason?
I wonder if we find some kind of corruption, like maybe going back to the spoke issue. Like maybe we figure out that the people that the Silver Flame was trying to send a train into the water.
Oh.
To kill the squid for some reason.
Okay. So that could be something you discovered but couldn't prove?
Yeah. Or that nobody believed or whatever.
Yeah. How does that feel for everyone?
Yeah, it was like not just one bad, but like there's a conspiracy within the Silver Flame. And so that's why we oppose them, is because they're controlling like their actions with the ends justify the means kind of mentality.
Yeah, okay. Any other thoughts or concerns about the Silver Flame causing the spoke crash?
I'm totally supportive of it. I don't know if we know the full reasons as to why.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, was there somebody on there? Was there...
I bet you think you know why.
I think we might... Well, I think we might have an idea,
mm-hmm.
but I don't know if how accurate that idea might be.
Fair enough.
I think other people could probably, get their own...
No, I like that. I like that we think we know why, but we don't actually know the full extent as to why.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is your guess at why they did that?
Like for the character or for the players?
Well, why did the Silver Flame arrange for this big crash that you all essentially prevented? You kept it from getting way worse.
Right. But I'm saying, are you asking us players what we think, or asking the characters?
The players. No, the character. What do the characters think was the Silver Flame's motivation to do? Like what are they trying to do? Are they trying to take over the city? Are they trying to?
I think they were trying to undercut the House Orion's influence.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay.
Because
they were trying to, Orion's on the ascendancy as well, and they saw them as a threat, or at least that's what we think.
Yeah, they thought that they could, stem their growth by causing harm to the light rail.
Oh yeah, and House Orion would be blamed for a massive transit accident. So
exactly.
Yeah, that would be egg on their face. Okay. Cool. That's good to know. So the next big group question that we're going to answer at the end of the next round is, each person of the group, so this you get to do individually, and I may have you keep it secret. Each person of the group should decide what keeps them in the group or returning to the group. So we can decide at the end if you want to keep that secret or not. So just think about what keeps your character in the group, like the in-character reason of, why do they stick around? Why do they keep coming back? Why do these 4 people keep making this happen? Okay. And let's go to Eli for the next location question.
You only gave me 1 location question.
Oh, you should
I have
have
a 1
2.
relationship question.
You should have 2 total location questions. What was your first one?
First one was you impressed a group that was important to our location. What did you do and was it?
Oh, okay. So your other one is supposed to be something is censored in our location. What is censored and why? Censorship, the grand unifier.
I was kind of thinking about going on that religion angle.
Mm-hmm.
That the church that we're kind of positioned against, they have their front of like this sort of like alleged do-gooder sort of religion, and we're going about and starting to uncover the fact that there's something like totally nefarious there.
Mm-hmm.
And they're basically stopping all sorts of, making people disappear or stopping, I don't know if they're printing presses, I guess.
Okay, so the Silver Flame is censoring something.
Yeah.
What kind of information are they censoring?
Negative press, maybe?
Oh, specifically about them, like their negative press?
Or maybe their thing is that they want to control, like maybe they're trying to get into some sort of magic to be able to control the people who have the dragon tattoos.
Okay. That might be a little bit out of scope. We just have to narrow it down to
Or Orion.
What they're censoring. Like if there is some grand scheme of them trying to control people with dragon marks, that would be a massive secret that probably wouldn't be revealed yet in the storyline. But the Silver Flame censoring something would be our clue that something is on the horizon. So maybe they're censoring.
Maybe there was like there was going to be a presentation of an oral history of the dragon marks.
Oh yeah, maybe there's like a big play that was coming out.
Yeah, like there was going to be a big performance, and it was based on the myth of the dragon marks and their origins and what all they've done for Sharn and Ebron as a whole, and they got it squashed.
Okay. Eli, how does that feel? It's your question, so I want to make sure.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah? Okay, so they censor the Dragon Mark play. And we'll figure out more about that later. Because I imagine there's a whole cast of actors and crew who are annoyed that this thing got shut down at the last minute.
Maybe that's how we heard about it. I mean,
Yeah.
like if we had connections.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Like amongst these people who are all suddenly out of work and they don't know why. It's just that something, the Silver Flame. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, I like that. Okay, cool. Claire, what's your next location question?
My next location question is, you have unfinished business with someone in our location. Who and what is unfinished? Could go a lot of different ways. Could go further into this really cool world we're building.
It's also okay to introduce new characters. There's lots of room.
All right. I think I've got an unfinished business with an old boss.
Mm-hmm.
I think an old so one of my archetypes is urban bounty hunter.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of like the guy in the Mandalorian that sends Mando out on the missions.
Sure. So the old like bounty hunters guild master.
Master, yeah. So I think either he stiffed me or I skipped out on a bounty, and
how about try this on for size. Huh. This person, when you had business with them, was not the guild master. They were somebody that you brought in bounties with, and something went wrong, either through misunderstanding or you actually stiffed them or whatever. And in the intervening time, like you you weren't as involved with the Bounty Hunters Guild, and you were doing other things, and they moved up the ranks and became the guild master. Got your name removed from the hunters' roles.
Ooh, and that would make me real mad. Yeah, okay. I like that. I like that a lot.
Cool. All right, I will come up with the Bounty Hunters Guild master. Let's go, Pooja.
Cool. So, this is our location question, correct?
Yes, second and final.
Many people in our location just won't face reality. What hard truth are they avoiding? Personally, I would say that the elementals that are doing the menial labor and that they have pressed into service actually have, like, they are more aware.
Elemental rights?
Yeah. They're more aware and they know more than people give them credit for.
What was the phrasing? People what?
The phrasing, the question was, many people in our location just won't face reality. What hard truth are they avoiding?
Okay, won't face reality of elemental rights. Did I encapsulate that correctly?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Zay's gonna start spew over here.
Great.
I mean, it just is. It's I am part of the reason why I chose Primordial was so that I could speak to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like they don't understand things in the same way we do, but that doesn't mean that they aren't people in the same way that the rest of us are all people.
A person's a person, no matter how much they're made of fire.
Yeah. Or rocks or whatever.
Or rocks or trees.
I mean, we have people who are made of half dreams.
Yes, so that is true. Okay, I like that. And then I think just Rob, did you do your second location?
I did not.
Okay.
Our location has a major flaw compared to other locations like it.
I can't imagine.
Weird.
What is that flaw?
Helm's Deep has but one weakness.
No back door.
That's definitely phrasing.
I was gonna say that's definitely a different podcast.
I'm gonna say, I'm writing down my question. I'm actually gonna say that we're in the dock ward mostly, right? Like we've decided that the Adventurers Guild and where we kind of hang out is mostly in the docks.
Yeah, for the most part, that's like the working class region of the city as we've created it.
Okay. The major flaw is that the docks, since it is more working class and it's kind of been sort of haphazard created and built upon itself multiple times, and the foundation is just slowly rotting away. But it's picking up speed basically. And so the major flaw that we're facing, and I don't know how many people are picking up on it, but it's gonna fall completely into the ocean.
Oh yeah, what if it's sinking?
I think that there's little bits and pieces that are sinking, kind of like the same way Hawaii is.
Yeah, or
but,
Venice.
But or Venice or
no, Louisiana.
Malibu.
Yes.
Yeah, Louisiana. Yeah, exactly. But while that's like, you look at that and you're like, oh, in 10,000 years, New Orleans will be beachfront property. But
No, New Orleans will be in the Gulf.
That's true. Yes, that's true.
In
They will
like
be
20
engulfed.
years.
It's half there anyway.
Yeah.
That's true. That is true. But there are bits that are slowly sinking and people notice it. Like, the steps up are now 4 or 5 steps are in the water, but but there's going to be a major catastrophe on the horizon.
Okay.
That I don't think a lot of people really know or acknowledge or have thought about.
Okay, I like that. Let's see. So has everyone done all their location questions? And
Yes.
we should just be left with one relationship question and
got a group question.
group. Yeah, a relationship and a group
okay.
question.
Cool.
So I think what I'm going to do, what does this say? So we need to answer now whether, and you can, if you could just tell me you want to keep it a secret and message me, but each person's going to decide what keeps them in the group or keeps you returning to the group. And you can tell me now if you want to share that or share it later.
I don't know the answer yet, so I don't know if I want to share it yet or not.
Okay, fair enough. So just make a note to decide why you keep coming back. Rob?
Yeah, I think mine is that there's still a lot that this group has to teach me, life experience wise. Travelers, city dwellers, whatever the hell Alabas does to get his power. Like there's still like a lot of open-ended things that I personally don't understand, and so until that knowledge bucket is full, then I'm cool hanging around.
Okay. Pooja?
I am gonna go back to that searching for family and say that like these are the people I've decided to like I can go the distance with.
Okay. I like the sound of that.
They know me better than anyone outside of my clan has ever known me.
Have you let them know that they know you that well? Or is that just something you know? You know that they don't know, or they know that you know, and you clearly can't choose the class in front of you.
I'm sure that they know that I know that they know.
Okay, so you can choose the glass in front of you.
I mean, just never start a land war, Asia.
Right.
I figured it out, and I don't think they know this, because I don't think they know how old I am.
Oh, okay.
Because I've always appeared fairly young.
Mm-hmm.
And when asked about my age, I'm always like, I've been around a minute,
Mm-hmm.
But I think I view them, these whippersnappers, as like my legacy. Because I never had kids, and I don't want to have kids because I don't want to bring them into this changeling life, yo.
Right. Okay.
And so I view the adventuring group as like a chance for myself to live on after I die.
Okay, but they don't know that about you yet, right?
They don't know that about me because they also, like I said, they don't know how old I am.
Okay. Cool. I like that. I think at some point we're going to have your character reference something from like 50 years ago.
Yes.
And people like, wait, what?
Oh, yeah. And be like, how old were you? 30?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
It is everything. I love it so much.
Awesome.
I think Alibas is in the same kind of realm. I'm always forgetting Rob's character's name. Is about learning, because that's one of the reasons why he left the forest is that he is on a mission and he's trying to learn more about the other religions in the world, because again his order is so like away from everything else.
Yeah.
That he's already gotten into some scraps and into some shenanigans with these people, with all of us. So it's more like these are the people that he's trusted, and they haven't done anything necessarily to make him not trust them.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Do they know that you're sticking around because you know they can help you learn things?
Yeah, I think he's pretty up for it, or he's pretty straight up with his feelings about it. Like he's not trying to hide it. It's like obviously like I think we're all good for each other. We help each other out. We have each other's backs. Like we've been in like situations that our lives could have been lost, and we were there to back each other up. Like there's no reason for us to really try to go somewhere else.
Okay, I like that. Excellent. Did we get everyone for that question? Okay, so I'm not going to ask another group question this time. We're going to go through each of your last relationship question, and then you each have a group question. So what I'm going to have, we're just going to like double tap each of you. So you're going to do your relationship question, and then do your group question. And again, your group questions are like we're supposed to have consensus on all of them. However, in this case, you'll sort of have the final say of how the group question is resolved. So let's go to Eli. Eli, or no, you went first last time. Pooja, let's have you do your final relationship question and then your group question.
Okay. My relationship question is: blank delayed your progress on something important. What was it? And I think that Alibas may have delayed my progress on getting I'm having a little like on what the important thing may have been, but
does
I think
somebody
it was
have a buzzing in the background?
No, sorry.
Oh, okay.
My mom was calling.
Yeah, it's fine.
I shall have to call her back very soon.
I understand.
So okay, no, I'll have to pick up now.
Okay.
I will I'll be
All
back.
right. We'll come back to you in a minute. Let's see. Who doesn't have, who already has Pooja in a relationship question and can answer with someone else?
I do.
Okay. Who do you have left?
I have, and actually this is a good one. You partnered with Blank to do something shady. What was it? So I partnered with Valkus? Ventus to, I don't know. What would we do together? What would we like steal together?
So overall, I think my guy is neutral good. So if we steal from somebody, it has to be somebody who's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. So if there's I don't know, somebody that has crossed you, maybe the dungeon or the bounty hunter person, or somebody along those lines that's hurting people, then I'm 100% in.
I was wondering, what if we stole like something, not something necessarily valuable to anybody other than this, is it the silver stars?
Silver flame.
Silver flame. What if we stole like a symbol from their temple and put it somewhere really inappropriate? Like, just to like embarrass them.
Yeah, 100%. What would be somewhere embarrassing to the silver flame?
A brothel?
I don't know if the silver flame is necessarily hold on, let me look up them a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do the same thing.
They're lawful good, but I also don't want to
you don't want to demonize
sex work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Church of the Silver Flame is dedicated to protecting people against supernatural forces of evil. So yeah, I think somewhere where maybe contact with perceived evil,
There's a suggestion from chat.
Oh.
That you rescued someone from the Silver Flame that the bounty hunters were arresting.
Ooh.
Okay.
So then we get both of them. We get the
Yeah.
Bounty Hunters Guild
yeah.
and the Silver Flame,
Yes.
Good
Which
job,
would-
Pudgy Dog.
which would make my heart real happy.
Yeah.
All right, I'm down.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Buddy Dog.
Awesome. So the you partnered with Ventus to do this to break somebody out of Silver Flame custody, who was a bounty hunter, a bounty, and
Yes.
maybe broke them out publicly. I bet Silver Flame was bringing the
Well-
person in to like make a big public thing about it.
Yeah, like they publicly were like, we caught them, and blah, 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 blah. And then we were like, just kidding, they escaped, haha, bye bye. But they don't know that it was us, but they think it was us, but they don't know when they came.
I think the Guildmaster knows that it was you.
But again, can't prove it.
Yep. Okay, cool. I like that. Let's go. Back to Pooja.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna say that that we were doing like I'm gonna play on this last one, that in order to get good with the Bounty Hunters Guild, because we needed to be on the right side of that guild.
Mm-hmm.
As much as we like oppose the Silver Flame, like if we have problems with the Bounty Hunter Guild, it's going to be problems with the Adventurers Guild. It's going to be problems with us. So we were collecting a bounty for them,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll say that Alabas delayed us in that because of it was a like we were on a pretty strict timeline. We had found out about collecting it, like that our mark was there, like maybe a couple of hours. Like we had a very short window to get them.
Mm-hmm.
And you insisted that we observe our like reflection time. That you were like, no, it's important. That
Maybe
can
to
wait.
like be sure that
We'll
you've got the
still
right
be-
guy.
Mm-hmm. Like take a moment, think about it. Let's have this time where nobody else will be pressuring us.
How
And
does
that's sacrosanct.
How does that fit for you, Eli?
Yeah, I think that's kind of funny because elves are pretty ancient in this world, right? Like in D&D, in and of themselves.
Yeah, elves are a long-lived species. Although you may not be. I mean, you might be young.
Well, I think he's young for an elf, right? Because he spent a lot of times in the woods, so like maybe his concept of time is a little bit off when it comes to certain things.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So that's the reason why he was persistent in saying like, "Hey, why don't we kind of just think about this? Like,
Yeah,
we can
you're
get it
on
figured
end
out."
time.
Yeah.
Don't be hasty. Okay, that sounds like a good fit. Eli, let's do your last relationship question.
My last, I got right. Remember his name now. Was with Zay. Gave you bad advice and you paid the price. What happened? So I'm thinking because we rushed out.
A time where you didn't take the time to meditate.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think because I kind of wanted him
parody.
to get arrested and he had to spend a little bit of time away from the group.
Ventus got
So
arrested.
Alabas got arrested.
Oh, Alabas. Yeah, sorry. Maybe Ventus
Yeah, 'cause
as
he
well.
paid-
I don't know.
I mean, he could get arrested too. High five. No. All right. Like, is there an overarching like want that Zay has that she could maybe push Alabas in a direction to do something? And then that's how he got caught.
I feel like if there's the situation I'm picturing here is that I got information from the spirit in my ring, and I didn't tell anybody that that's where I got it, but I passed it along as fact. And based on that faulty information, you acted.
Could we tie that in with the silver flame as well? Just to make them more evil.
Yeah, so you got some information about the silver flame and then didn't pass
No,
on.
and then I did act on it from the ring, but she didn't say like, "Hey."
Maybe it's like the ring. Like what I found out, or what I thought I found out, was that like they were engaging in some kind of criminal activity, and we acted, or you acted upon it specifically to stop it, but it turns out that wasn't it at all. Like, oh, it's human trafficking, and you show up and it's a soup kitchen kind of situation.
Right. There's like the one time they weren't doing something bad.
Yeah.
Can I change it from the silver flame and have it be like a different guild, or maybe one of the houses?
It doesn't have to be silver flame. Yeah.
Yeah. So is there like the commerce house?
Yeah, the dragon marked house is hold on. Hold, please. Your question is important and will be answered in the order in which it was received.
Please press 1 for houses, plus 2 for deity.
Oh yeah, this is an older wiki. Let's go to D&D Beyond.
Wiki.
Dragon mark. Here we go. The Eberron rulebook that just came out is gorgeous, by the way. Let's see. So we have the mark of detection, finding. So finding is actually, so House Thrashk is like investigators, but also like they find treasure. So a lot of times they have big money. They're also often misunderstood, being a house of like half orcs and orcs as well as humans.
What if I thought that one of them had made an infernal pact?
Right, but got it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could work. So mistaked House Thrashk for an infernal pact. Mistook, I mean.
And I think that could have happened maybe like in kind of like their, like when their relationship was kind of fledgling. So he just kind of was like he acted on impulse a little bit more when he knows he probably shouldn't have.
Okay.
And then that's why he kind of went like typical, like, I'm gonna break the door down, try to deal with the thing. And it was like, oh, you busted into the Maker's Mart or whatever, like, you know, like into the Boston market or whatever.
Okay.
And it was at like an odd time of night, so then it was kind of like, oops. So then now he has beef with that house.
Okay.
Because they think it's probably salacious that he was trying to say that, like sword waving through the street saying that you made an infernal pact.
Oh yeah, and they get accused
when they actually
of
didn't
shit
do it
sometimes. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. And I think we have Rob's last relationship.
Yes, we do. So my last relationship is when you need advice, you always go to blank.
And who do you have left?
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking. Well, I have a connection with everybody either through theirs or through mine.
Well,
So-
yeah, but you want to have everybody, have all three people on your list.
I thought, let me double check then.
That's the goal anyway. Does everyone else have that? One
Yeah.
for everyone else?
That's what I thought was
Okay.
the goal.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So the answer is Nyx. I mean, and I figured this.
I mean, that makes sense anyway, because they're the ones that is the local.
Yeah. But it says I always go to Nyx for advice. So far, so good. We'll see how that keeps going.
Oh yeah, just keep coming to me for advice, honey. It's fine.
I like the way that lines up though, with Nyx being they're more of a that old soul.
Yeah.
Also literally old, but not
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
And Ventus being not a kid, but being new to the city and trying to figure out how to make his way around.
That's exactly it. It's far more metropolitan, far more aware of the world and the different strata within it. So streetwise versus book smart.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the last thing we have are our each of you have your own group questions. But I'm also aware of our time. We only have 15 minutes left tonight. So I think what we're going to do is let's brainstorm those group questions in Slack this week.
Okay.
We have 2 weeks to do that. And then when we come back next time, we'll do our intros and open with what we decided for that and jump into some adventuring and intrigue.
Sounds great.
Anything else we should cover before we wrap up tonight?
No, we're gonna do lines and veils in our Slack. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll do an anonymous Google Doc so that everyone can enter that, and I'll explain that for everyone next time for the audience. I think this is a good place to call it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for our D&D campaign this spring. My name is Jason. You can find all my stuff at It's Probably Okay on Twitter. My Twitch channel's starting to get a little bit of activity on it, and I made a game called Demigods. You can find it at demigodspbta.com. And I do a lot of streaming here at Happy Jacks. I've sat in a few times with the folks over at Saving Throw. I did a Demigods campaign with the 12-Sided Stories crew, which was a lot of fun. They do all the sound effects and editing and all the fun stuff that we definitely do. No, we don't edit here. We do it in the raw.
We just do make mouth noises.
Yes. And vroom vroom. And I think that's about it for what I'm up to. Claire, what are you up to?
So I was actually one of the very first hosts of Happy Jacks way back in 2005-ish, when it was just a podcast. I've been playing RPGs since then. I also sing with the Merry Wives of Windsor, which is at Merry Wives everywhere, and our very own Happy Jacks Kimmy. She and I are in a band together called the Mary Sues, and we are at Mary Sue's band, and we just did a parody of What Child Is This about Baby Yoda that got some good traction.
Amazing.
I saw that. I was endlessly amused.
So check out Baby Yoda Carol on YouTube if you haven't seen it yet.
Cool. Eli?
My name's Eli. I'm on Twitter at Ignatius Wang. So follow me if you want, because I'll be back here in 2 weeks.
Good call. Pooja?
Hi, I am Pooja. You can find me on Twitter at LATC Girl. You can catch me here at Happy Jacks every Sunday. I'll be playing, obviously, this campaign. And also, we, on alternating Sundays, are doing our Vampire Fight E Glittering Night campaign. So you can check us out there. And on occasion, I pop over to 12-Sided Stories. But most of that is on hold thanks to stay-at-home mandates.
Yay! Sparkling isolation.
Yeah.
Yay! Isolation from everyone. But yeah, thanks for joining us.
Rob?
Yeah, I'm Rob. I don't really do anything anymore. It's cool, bro.
He's short and he knows things.
Sometimes. I also drink occasionally.
Okay. I was gonna have something witty to say about it, and I came up short, and that's as good as I could do. Like that. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. Nah, I know. I thumbs down myself.
Jason, why start being witty now?
Oh snap!
Yeah. Well, if I start now, it's like 1 out of 0, right? Like that's infinitely better. I forgot to mention I'm here every Monday for now. Tomorrow we're gonna have our finale of our Shadowrun campaign that I'm running. Very excited to see the conclusion of that. It was a long run actually, and there's a lot of back material there if you want to watch a Shadowrun campaign that barely flirts with the rules of Shadowrun because I was the GM.
That once it opened a Shadowrun book and said, eh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I grew up on Shadowrun as my very first RPG, and I've played every edition, and it's I'm old enough to not give a shit about the rules that much. And on alternating Mondays, we have our Things from the Flood campaign that Kadave is running, and that's got a little ways to go still. A lot of fun happening there. And I forgot to mention that I am actually launching an experimental a masks game on my channel. It's probably okay on Twitch tomorrow morning at 10. Everyone needs morning streams because there aren't that many of them, and so tomorrow morning at 10. We'll see how it goes. It should be a lot of fun. I'll reveal more about that on the Twitter. So stay tuned for that. And thank you everybody for joining us tonight.
Thanks.
Anything
we'll
else?
See you guys next time. No.
Okay. Thanks everybody, and good night. I'll throw up the calendar here.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.